Well, good evening and welcome to Season 2, Episode 1 of Flames of Freedom, the Tamere Society, here on InfiniteRP. Look at these beautiful people all around me. We got a full-on cast. Hey, everyone in chat. Thank you for being here. I see ACN over there, ACN who works so hard on a lot of our design stuff, and also Nymeria Streams. Who is that? I don't know, but they resubscribed. And we appreciate that so much. We are glad you're here. If you missed Season 1 of Flames of Freedom, don't worry. We won't explain everything, but things will become less confusing as we go on. Maybe? I don't know. For those of you unfamiliar, we are playing Flames of Freedom. It is a system based on the Zweihander engine, which is a D100 system at its core. It is grim and perilous, which means that fights are fast and deadly. Naps don't heal stab wounds, and there's a little bit of grit under the surface. Flames of Freedom is based in the time of the American Revolution, but mixed in supernatural horror. So it's like 1776 plus zombies. So if zombies aren't your thing, if they scare you, don't worry. We're not that scary, but all of our players are using safety tools. If you ever need to walk away or turn it off or mute, you can do that too. We appreciate you being here, and we appreciate the lurks. My name is Doc Rimbo, and I am your historian. For this, I use he, him, or they, them pronouns. I'm really happy to be here with all these people who I like very, very much, and I'm so glad they all came back. And we've added a cast member, a permanent cast member too. So what I think we'll go around and we will talk to you, the cast, and we will ask you your name, what you want to be called, pronouns, and then if you can sort of give us an overview of your character. So maybe something that happened to them during Season 1, what kind of profession they have, anything interesting you want to share about them. We will start with our friend, the Greek Sid, over here, who is, yes, right here. I got the point right. Hi, Sid.
Hi.
Hi, welcome.
How's it going? Oh, thanks.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad to see all these gorgeous faces. It's been a while. Glad to get everybody back. Woohoo! I'm Christina Sid. You can find me on the Twitters at Greek Sid. My pronouns are she, her. And my character is named Saoirse. Saoirse's an artistic soul. Saoirse is a bit of a polyglot, and more recently has really been getting into drawing and painting and really just observing the world around her, especially if that world includes a half-dressed Zeke. But yeah, just really been appreciating that a great deal. But yeah, she's like sort of kind of like seeing Zeke. Yeah, kind of.
Oh, okay. So they've kind of got a thing going on.
Yeah, that's how I get.
Will you do me one more favor, Sid? Will you roll me a d6 and let me know if you get a 6?
Of course. I got a 3.
Okay. I will explain this to all of you in chat in just a minute, in case you're not familiar, but it's not very complicated. Let's go below you. We'll go around clockwise and see our friend Kate Madison. Hi, Kate.
Hi, how is everybody doing?
Good. Are you ready to question your loyalties to the British Empire?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Down with Britain. Boo.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, careful, Kate.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Kate's internet cuts out. That's why.
What happened? Stick comes in.
Coming up the stairs.
I'm back for more. So if anyone who didn't watch last time, shame on you. No, I'm Nessa, play Nessa Hildegard. She is what we affectionately think of as Mama Hobbit. She is small and stocky and the oldest of the group, and she is meant to be the healer in a way of the group. She's got some magic skills. She is a mage, but she has also become a folk healer since last since the last season, or she gained that at the very end, I think. And so yeah, she is very much the mum of the group to try and sort of keep everyone thing. And yet at the same time, if she's in a brawl, she will go for the eyes and nuts.
Oh, absolutely, every time.
Yeah,
Without
yeah, she
fail.
is a below the belt, gouge your eyes out, like kick you in the shins, kind of.
She's the kind of healer who'll just kick you in the crotch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then give you a salve to make it all better. Yeah. That's I think
great.
that's the main thing about it. Oh, I mean, I'm really bad at my own pronouns. So I've often said them wrong. So she, her,
Okay.
they. I mean, very whatever. In a way, I'm flexible. But yes, or just call me Kate because
Okay. Works.
that will work too. Yeah.
Excellent. Will you roll a d6 for me, Kate? While Kate
I
does
will.
that, I'll let everyone know. So this, we talked about Kate being sort of our healer of the group. Magic in the Zweihander system and in this world is harder to come by. It's not like somebody's got magic in their pocket all the time. It takes time and effort and intention.
Singing into a cup sometimes.
And singing into a cup sometimes.
I rolled a 1, so
Okay, great.
We
There's
get a
another
coin, right?
Coin. Yeah. And let's move to your left on my screen over to our friend Nymeria. Anna, Anna, who guested with us on 2 episodes last year, and
I
is
did.
now a fully fledged cast member. And we're so glad that you're here. Anna, tell us about who you are and your pronouns, and tell us about Contentment Hussy.
I will. I'm really happy to be back here for a full season this time, which is exciting. I'm Anna. I also go by Nymeria on the internet. I use they, she pronouns, and I got to work on actually designing and developing and editing and doing a lot of other things for this game, for Zweihander. So it's really awesome to actually get to play the game for a sustained period of time, because I still haven't gotten to play more than 1 session in a row. This is very exciting. As for Contentment Hussy, so Contentment Hussy is actually the name of a real life ancestor of mine. I don't know a whole lot about her aside from her name, so I'm kind of just fleshing out who she might be by playing this game. And she is our bod, which is, it's a sort of all-encompassing term from this period, but one of the things that's under the umbrella of being a bod is sex work. It's also a lot of conversationalist skills and trading in secrets and information. So there's a little bit of a spy thing potentially going on that could happen. And as of our finale session, she took a second profession and is also a libertine. So
Tell us about libertine, because
well,
every time you
I'm
talk
glad
about it, I
you
get
asked.
excited about this direction for her character.
So, when you get a new profession in Zweihander or in Flames of Freedom as well, you get access to a lot of skills and bonuses and new talents, and it depends on your profession what you get. If you become a libertine, you get 9 opium. So you can just kind of do whatever you want with that, and I haven't used any of it, so it'll be interesting to see how that pans out, because we are, this crew is gonna have an interesting time.
That's what we're here for.
I surmise, I suspect. So
Anna, will you roll me a d6, please?
I will. I rolled a 3, so we get a coin.
Okay, another one. I'll clear this up for anyone who's interested in knowing. So this game uses coins as a way to track sort of what other games might call fate or other things. And what they do is they give advantages to people you can spend. So there's one pool that belongs to the players and one pool that belongs to me. You can use it to change the outcomes of rolls. You can use it to do more damage. You can use it to change the narrative of the story, like by adding something that wasn't there before. But when you use it, it goes to the other pool. And so anytime the players spend one, I get it. Anytime I spend one, they get it. And so we are rolling. If they roll a 6, I get it. If they roll anything else, they get it. Speaking of they get it, here's my favorite they get it. It's Wally. Hi, Wally. I don't know what, did you like my segue?
Yeah,
I don't know what it means. I have no idea what it means.
I don't know.
They get
I don't know why
it all.
You're such a they get it.
I don't know why it tickled me so much, but
That's what I always call
get
them.
it.
Mhm.
Get it. Yeah, okay. What's up, y'all? It's me, Wally, your favorite non-binary slime on the internet. Who will, oh boy, who will start in season 2 of your series? because they like you that much and they're having fun with you guys. But yes, I'm back here on Plays of Freedom playing Ezekiel. Ezekiel was a highwayman, someone who robbed stagecoaches all the time. That was their thing. That's how they made money. But then they got rounded up into this group of rebels and rabble rousers and decided, maybe he can put his skills of being a, highway person, a stagecoach robber to good use. And that's why I take up a second profession, which is the freebooter, which is basically I'm a smuggler. I'm a smuggler who can drive carts very fast. I know how to get things. I can talk my way out of things. That's basically what my thing is now. I've learned to be more of a less pew pew and more oration in solving my issues.
Yeah. Pew less, smile more.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Yeah.
That's terrific. I love Zeke, and for those who watched the first season, we all know that Zeke and Saoirse have a thing.
They are quite the hot.
They're the it couple of the show.
It's couple of the revolutionary era. What's that? We have Sir Z coming out of the tavern together.
All right. Did you roll a 6?
Yes, I did roll. I rolled a 6 actually.
Excellent. So I get a coin. That's 2 for me, 3 for y'all so far. And speaking of y'all, here's my favorite y'all. Colin. Just full of smooth transitions.
I'm Colin. I use you, y'all pronouns.
That's right.
Okay. I am Colin, and I'm gonna play Phineas. I got a new jacket. Things have changed.
Yeah. Would you explain why that's significant to people who have never met Phineas before?
Yeah. So Phineas is a corporal in the Continental Army by way of the famed Vermont militia, the Green Mountain Boys. He is from Vermont, and he'll tell you all about it. And his hero is General Ethan Allen, the head of the Green Mountain Boys. He wants to be him when he grows up. And Phineas was a member of the Green Mountain Boys. He was at the siege of Fort Ticonderoga, where he was wounded in combat when he fell down a flight of stairs. But he finally came clean about that. Everyone thinks of him as like a war hero because he was wounded. But if you know anything about Ticonderoga, there wasn't actually a single shot fired in the entire battle. So Phineas fell down a flight of stairs, and for that he was rewarded. But he has since gone kind of undercover, trying to help the revolution from inside, which he did in Boston, and at the end finally met General Washington himself, who promoted Phineas from private to corporal. And now that everyone's heading on down to New York, where we're going to be this season, Phineas is trying to go in deep cover. He can't go around wearing his Green Mountain Boys jacket that he's so very fond of, so he's had to hang up the green and got himself a nice maroon instead to try to blend in among the New York high society.
Wow, is that velvet?
What's that?
Is that a velvet jacket?
Yeah, it's crushed velvet.
Very nice.
I love this jacket. And Phineas, he's a bit of I call him the Green Mountain himbo. He's definitely a bit of a himbo, and sort of has a crush on Nessa, though, that he's still trying to sort of figure out. Doesn't really know what that's about, but something there.
He's going through changes. He's learning about himself.
He's a grown boy. He also just turned 18. He
Excellent.
lied about his age before to get into the army because he was only 17. But his birthday has just passed.
Fantastic. Hey, birthday boy, why don't you roll us a d6 and let me know what you get?
Yes. A D6, you say?
A d6.
I got that fun.
Excellent. That means the player pool has 4 coins in it. Mine has 2, which we'll spend, and we will try to keep track on our screen too, so everybody can see. You can see that there's little coins up in the top corners of our screen, and we'll toss them back and forth. Yes. Is it? Sarah asks, "Is it felt?" And my smartass answer is, "Well, yeah, he just touched it."
I was gonna say that too.
All right.
I was like,
Okay.
I'm gonna let Justin say it because I know someone wanted to say it. We were all sitting on it.
Excellent.
Uh-huh.
One last thing is we could use some retweets And we can put the tweet up in Twitch chat in just a moment here. But at 20 retweets, the wig comes on.
The wig is back.
The wig is
Mhm.
back.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, the wig is back.
The wig is right here off
Any
camera.
of you, for any of you watching for the first time, the wig is a utterly ridiculous powdered wig that Justin has, like the curly with the stupid ponytail thing down the. It's just.
I look like
It's awful
I
and he
look
hates
like-
wearing it, so let's all retweet
Really
that he
hot.
has to.
really hot
the
and
wig
uncomfortable.
is the seventh.
it makes my head like boil.
Yeah.
And also it makes me look like Thomas Jefferson has been sleeping rough for a couple weeks.
You look like Thomas
Imagine if Thomas Jefferson slept on a park bench. Okay,
you look like Alexander Hamilton after the letters were released to the public.
Oh,
thank you for wow.
I threw him out.
Wow. Okay. Mhm, mhm.
That's rough.
It's a rough
Look,
patch. Yeah.
That's a
Okay,
rough.
well, let's get. I mean, I'm not gonna do the work of putting the Twitter link in the chat for you.
Oh no.
So
we
okay, got it. Hey, we appreciate it. While the cast does that, let's take a trip back in time, all the way back to February of 1776, when we last saw the Tamere Society. In February of 1776, on the brink of the American Revolution, the British Army held control over the city of Boston. Weeks later, a series of strange coincidences worked in the favor of General Washington to seize the nearby town of Dorchester Heights, a key bombardment location, and thereby force the loyalists within the city to surrender their control. But only a few people know what really happened. A group of secretive Freemasons unearthed a relic of great power, which caused the dead to rise and shamble about on behalf of the Loyalist army. Those forces were thwarted by an unlikely group of rebels who went on to ensure a mystical fog enshrouded the city and allowed Washington's division to place their cannons. Washington then, as Phineas said, went on to secure the group as a part of his new spy network and immediately gave them orders to go to New York City. Their mission there was to confront the supernatural forces which might pose a threat to the young nation and root them out, all while containing and maintaining their cover in the midst of the war. It is now the 13th of September in 1776, the same year. We'll find out in a short while what everyone did on their summer vacation, but a late heat wave has moved in on the city, as if the stress of life during wartime was not already enough. We open our adventure on Fairfax Hall, a large yet humble building on the lower west side of Manhattan, which seems redundant because in 1776 in New York City, almost all the buildings were on the lower west side of Manhattan. The building is 3 stories tall, and therefore it competes with its neighboring buildings for size, but its facade is faded and dirty. There is a sign on the door, one obviously recently and cheaply made, which reads, "The Tamere Society, Education, Elocution, and Etiquette for the Young and Uprising." You move inside. A nearby room is fashioned into a lecture hall on the first floor. It currently holds one of the largest attendance numbers the Tamere Society has had to date in its short history. There are 4 people inside. This class is made up of young adults between their teenage years and their mid-20s. And usually this class, whatever it is taught by a local freelance educator, someone of considerable knowledge and expertise. But the class today is restless. Maybe it's the heat. Maybe it's because their teacher is late. Or maybe it's because their teacher has evacuated the city, which is becoming more and more common as recently George Washington lost control of Long Island and retreated into Manhattan. They wait. There's a girl, looks like she's in her late teens. There are 2 young gentlemen talking in one corner, and someone who looks like he's in his early 20s sitting towards the back of the room. And after a while, All four heads in the room turn to look at the door as it opens, and the substitute teacher enters. Colin, do you want to describe what Phineas looks like to those who have never seen him before?
I would love to. Phineas is the word scruffy comes to mind. He is normally, before the war and before he was a soldier, he was just a farmhand. So he's a very tall kid. He's the tallest one of this group. He's just he just looks like you took a normal sized kid and just stretched him out. He's kind of gangly, big long limbs, his big, particularly long arms that kind of swing very, very low, and he tends to walk kind of swinging his arms wildly as he goes, has kind of a weird hobbling gait, and he usually keeps a beard. He has bluish green eyes, and he's just very sort of beneath the scruffy exterior. There's lots of little nicks and scars from accidents working on the farm over the years and everything like that. And yes, war wounds. He also has a scar above his left eye from where he fell down the stairs at Fort Ticonderoga. And normally he would be seen in his classic Green Mountain Boy jacket, but not today. He's traded it in for this. Well, he still has it. He hasn't gotten rid of it. Don't be ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
It's in a box somewhere. But he's traded it in temporarily for this crushed velvet jacket and traded in his typical tricorn hat for something a little bit more stylish and man about town.
Mm-hmm. And all four pairs of eyes watch Phineas enter. How does he enter the room?
He has a small like leather briefcase that has papers just like pouring out of it. Like as he's like coming in, they're like leaving a trail behind. Mm-hmm. And he like has, it looks like he has textbooks for like every class at this school shoved into this one bag. Okay. And he's just like comes in hurriedly, ignores everyone there, throws his briefcase down in the desk at the front of the classroom, and just starts digging through, flipping through textbooks. Like, is this the one? Is this the one?
One of the students, one of the two boys who are talking to each other, pipes up and says, "Pardon me, sir. Where's Professor Winthrop?"
It's a very good question. You're clearly a very intuitive young man. Professor Winthrop has gone on extended holiday. Indefinitely.
Has he left the city?
Yeah. And that's what extended holiday is trying to do, like a what's that called? A euthanasia? But you know what I mean.
I don't know. I'm not sure. This isn't a vocabulary class.
Well, then I have a question for you, young man.
Yes?
What class is this?
We're meant to be studying the Greek poets.
The Greek poets. He's like looking through like, I don't think I have that one. Would you settle for just poetry in general?
And the young lady who's in the front row nods. She says, "Yes, I'd like to hear some poetry."
All right. Who wants to start with a limerick?
I don't know what that is.
A limerick? That's pretty easy. They kind of all follow like a standard form. It's like there once was a king from Great Britain whose what rhymes with Britain?
There's the man, the sort of like early 20s gentleman in the back of the room speaks up. He says, "What about the shitting?"
Very good, very good. What's your name, son?
Pardon me. My name. Hold on, I gotta look at what I gave us. he says. My name is, and actually, I think he visibly like thinks about it for just a second, and he says, "My name is Biggs."
Was that this Colin saying? What was that?
Biggs Klusterskater.
You. Biggs, young master, cluster.
Klusterskater.
Cluster. Biggs.
Yes,
Can I call you Biggs?
sitting.
Sitting. Yes.
If you mispronounce the skin on the bug, you call it a chitin.
Chitin. Okay. All right. So how about there once was a king from Great Britain who upon his golden throne he was sitting. The people in Boston started. Oh, well, hold on. The people from Boston, his tea they were tossing. And when he said, "Are you serious?" we said, "We ain't shitting."
The girl in the front claps, and Biggs Klusterskater starts clapping in the back as well. But one of the boys in the middle sort of says, "When is Professor Winthrop coming back?"
Indefinitely. I told you, not anytime soon.
And he raises his hand as he waits to be called upon.
And Phineas like looks at him and then pointedly ignores him. Anybody else? Anyone else have a want to volunteer a little rhyme? Huh? Anyone know the one about the man from Nantucket?
They all stare blankly for just a moment, and then Biggs Klusterskater raises his hand.
Yes, Biggs.
Says, there once was a sailor named Bates who did the fandango on skates. He fell on his cutlass, which rendered him nutless, and he practically useless on dates.
Biggs?
Yes.
Get an A in this class.
Oh, very good. Okay, I like it. Thank you very much.
How about
that boy who has his hand up? It's still up, and he's just like shoving it like higher and higher.
Yes, you.
Pardon me, but your initial limerick seemed to cast King George in quite an unfavorable light.
Oh, did it?
Yes, my father should not be pleased to hear of such propaganda being perpetuated by your school.
Propaganda. No. Let me introduce you to a little concept called academic freedom.
Academic freedom?
That's right.
What is free about academia, Professor?
I don't remember. Are we going? This is a question to the.
Yeah. Yeah.
Going under our real names or no?
It's up to you. You have a cover that you want to keep, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you have to ask: is my name well known enough to draw attention?
Yeah, I don't think it would be good. Warner, Professor Warner.
Oh, all right, Professor Warner. What were you saying about academia being free?
Look, it's been an enshrined principle of, our God-given rights as Englishmen that we have the right to discourse and the ability to speak freely, especially in these open institutions like a university. These are bastions of free speech. And hey, maybe my limerick kind of did the king a little bit dirty, right? But what's he going to do? Come over here and kick my ass?
At that moment, there is a sound of gunfire from outside. just as a little background thing, a squadron of redcoat soldiers like go running past the window, chasing some sort of like pickpocketer or something like that.
All right, I got a question for the class, and let's start with you, young man, the pompous shit who was just talking to me. Yeah,
Davy.
Davy.
Yes.
Davy, let me ask you something. How do you currently feel as a New Yorker, having redcoats march up and down the streets?
Well, my father says they're here for our protection, and so I find their presence to be quite comforting, especially as so many people are getting ideas of rising up against King George and his forces. I sleep much better knowing that our capable soldiers are here to protect the good people of New York.
And hey, no one in this classroom is talking about rising up or anything like that. I think we can all agree, right, that we're good, loyal subjects of the king, right?
Everyone agrees. It starts nodding. How about we do our first roll of the season? Do me a scrutinize check as you read all these. Yeah, as you read all these
See who's
nods.
Potential.
Yeah.
Okay, scrutinize is. No, that didn't. I didn't get it. I missed it.
How
coin.
This seems important.
I would like to know who's a potential mark. That's cool. Can I use one?
It's always cool to use a coin. You got 4.
Go for it. Always use
that
it.
Was worse.
Please.
We need to radicalize them. I mean, what?
That was worse.
Yes, they all nod, and you think, and Phineas, you're sure you've got him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, of course, no one here is talking about rebelling against anything, right? But if you did, hypothetically, of course, do you think, who here wants to offer an opinion on this? Do you think that the king would be able to stop it? Would any such rebellion be crushed inevitably?
The young lady in the front row raises her hand, and she says, I suppose those in power would be desperate to remain in power. But I mean, if we've learned anything from the Greek tragedies, is that power corrupts us, and eventually all hubris will cause even people as mighty as King George to fall.
That's right. Very good. Greeks. Okay, I think I know something about Greeks. That Icarus guy, he was Greek, right?
Yes, I believe he was a myth. But
details.
Okay.
So, the great continent of North America, right? Anyone have any idea how big it is? Anybody?
They all sort of like shake their heads. No.
That's right. Nobody knows. No one knows how far it goes out that way. No one goes how far north, how far west. No one knows how far south. It's pretty damn huge, right? And King George over there in Great Britain, he's on an island, right? That comparatively is like, this big. It's like a little speck, just a little spit floating out there in the ocean. And from that little island strip out there, he's trying to rule a continent that's so big, no one even knows where the end is, right? Now, that might be possible, or it may be that America is the sun, and King George is flying way too close. And you know what happens when you fly too close to the sun? You get fucking shot. That's right. Boom.
The young lady in the front row, up until this point, when you were like, America is the sun, the young lady is like, when you looped when you looped Icarus into it, she was like nodding enthusiastically. And then when you say that's how you get shot, she looks confused.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm just saying, between us and King George, there's 3,000 miles of ocean. And we're standing here on a continent that extends thousands of miles in all directions. And you're trying to tell me that guy from all the way over there is going to be able to stop us from doing anything? Not that we're talking about that, of course. We're not talking about doing that. I'm just saying if we did, no chance that could ever be quashed. No chance.
All right. Yes. All right. The two boys who are obviously friends are kind of like giving a grumpy look, and one of them speaks up and he says, I don't know if I like you teaching this class. Can we ask for a different teacher?
Do you like pastries?
Oh, yes, of course, I do.
You familiar with Mrs. Doyle's pastries?
Oh yes, Mrs. Doyle. She makes wonderful crusty breads and scones.
And we all know Mrs. Doyle, very good, loyal subject, just like all of us.
Oh yes, of course.
Good. Well, I got news for you, son. I brought some pastries. And he goes into his bag and like pulls out a few textbooks, and under there's like a crushed bag of like pastries at the bottom. I think they're like what are those things? Like pain au chocolat, like the croissants with chocolate.
Oh yeah.
Those
I'm so good. I'm so hungry now.
And I think that Mrs. Doyle's pastries, even though these are crushed, they're so good. Like those pastries are so bomb that even a little bit smushed, like these are still quite desirable.
I think you're right. And what we're going to do is I'm going to have you make a charm test. And what we'll do is we'll make this, because of the pastries, we'll make it an easy check. So for those of you unfamiliar with the D20 system, D100 system, is that what is Phineas's goal for charm in general? What's his skill test for charm?
So, 41.
Okay, we're gonna make it an easy, so we're gonna add 20% to that. So you have to roll under a 61.
Under a 61.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Do I have anything that's gonna fuck with me? No. Okay. Under a 61.
Mm-hmm.
51. Yay.
Excellent. The rest of the class is spent eating pastries. By the time it would normally end, nothing of, well, I mean, not nothing, but nothing of the usual importance is discussed. People just sit around eating pastries and sort of listening to you spout off rebel rhetoric in a very poorly disguised manner. And there are crumbs all over the floor, and eventually everyone gets up to leave. Before leaving the room, the young lady shakes your hand, and she says, "Thank you very much. That was very interesting." And she like clutches these books to her chest, and she shuffles off out of the room. The two boys leave in a huff. They, I don't know, they appreciated the pastries, and that's about all that we can say for them. And then Biggs Kloosterskatter is the last one to leave, and just gives you a silent nod. And a few moments later, you know that you're wanted down the hall in what we would call the equivalent of a teacher's lounge. And when you enter, the rest of the group is there seated. How about we go around and just give me a quick description of what characters look like if you haven't shared it already. Anything we want to see. For example, Wally, where is Zeke? What's he doing when Phineas enters the teacher's lounge?
When Phineas enters the teacher's lounge, Zeke is currently leaning back in a chair, boots up on a table, and he is reading through a book. The book is A Modest Proposal, and he's like chuckling to himself as he reads it.
Very tall.
Yes, very tall. Like not as tall as Phineas, but whereas Phineas is like, tall and gangly, like Ezekiel is built like someone who runs a lot, like someone who hangs on the side of highways, runs along stagecoaches and jumps on top of them, that kind of stuff.
He's lithe and muscular. Yeah.
And he's still wearing the same outfit that he usually wears. He's not trying to hide because it's that sad truth. He realized he doesn't need to hide because of certain things. Because he's black and a revolutionary, he doesn't need to hide. He can do what he can do right in the open because he doesn't really draw a lot of attention to himself. So he's not being brazenly like obvious what he does, but it's that he's not putting in a strong effort to do anything. It's very much, if anyone asks what he does, he just keeps his mouth shut, which is kind of goes into what a skill that I gained from my freebooter abilities.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, we'll call on that later. What is Contentment doing?
She is actually seated at one of the tables. Contentment's pretty short. Like even sitting down, you can tell she only reaches about 5 feet. And the reason why you know this is even for the time, her feet are kind of just dangling from the chair, not quite touching the floor. So short, slight build, got a bit of a fancier than usual clothing situation going on. She's dressed in what would be considered like the person's best dress, not an everyday kind of thing. And she is just sitting down practicing her like calligraphy type stuff. She teaches a lot of the fancy school subjects here. So yeah, just working on that good handwriting.
Sweet. What is Nessa doing?
Nessa, who I've sort of described a little bit as the little hobbit, because she's also short, stocky, and fashionably dressed, with a big bulbous nose. That is what I rolled, which I love. And she's actually doing some embroidery, getting ready to teach some others to do the same thing. So she's actually doing one of them little. So it's got a word probably. But,
Does she teach embroidery?
Yeah, I think she probably.
That's wonderful.
I think. Okay, but I think she does that. She also teaches self-defense because I think that would be hilarious.
I mean,
and and kind of first aid in a sense as well. So it's a bit of everything. So yeah, 1 minute you're learning embroidery with her, and then she's like head tackle, like thing. Headlock stuff in the next room. So she's all over the place, but
excellent. And
for now, she's doing that.
And I could guess what Saoirse is doing, but I'd like Sid to describe it anyway.
Oh, of course.
I bet it's book related.
Well, Saoirse is on the shorter side, probably like 5'2", average build, very pale, very freckly, heterochromia. She's got one blue eye, one brown eye, long, bright red curly hair. And yeah, she's seated like probably the same table as Zeke, but like across from him. And under the guise of like maybe correcting some of the French from a previous class, she's actually just very unobtrusively like sketching Zeke's profile currently.
I love it. Okay, so Saoirse's doing Zeke fan art, and
basically, yeah.
Phineas enters. What does this room look like? What would the teacher's lounge in a school like this for this group look like?
It's got a big fireplace.
There's a wet bar.
There's a wet bar. Okay.
A wet bar?
There's a wet bar.
No.
there is a giant, like, ancient looking wooden table. Like, in this time period, furniture is built to last a long time. You don't just get new furniture all the time. This is old, and it's like destroyed by, you know, cup rings and burn marks and people like scratching stuff into it, trying to scratch out like dicks and inappropriate stuff that people have carved into the table, but they can't really completely scratch it out. Just a big old table there in the center of the room.
Excellent. And lots of folks are seated around it. Wally, what were you going to say?
There's a globe, like one of those big globes, right? And it's a fully workable, the globe works, but when you like pull away the top of the globe, that's inside of there is the wet bar. There's like various bottles of rum and whiskey is inside of there.
Love it. Love it. Anything else?
We've decorated the walls in Nessa's needlepoints and Saoirse's paintings.
Are there bookshelves?
Oh, yeah, definitely. There have to be, right?
Okay.
We need a place for Saoirse to stash her stuff so she doesn't throw her back out.
So she doesn't have to carry books around.
Carry around all of her books all the time. That would be ridiculous.
I mean, these are the guns we're talking about here. Yeah.
True.
She carries them a couple times every day just to keep it ripped.
Just keep it up.
The rest of the time she stashes them in the teacher's lounge. It's funny that we should mention teachers' lounges, as we've talked about before out of game, is the way that the group usually receives updates, jobs for them to go on, is they'll receive shipments of books from a patron, one or another, and usually one of them, probably one that's in a different language, will arrive specifically addressed to Saoirse. and Saoirse will look through the book and sort of decipher a code as to where they're being asked to go. That's kind of how the drop system works. So on the shelves, I imagine there's books like that you use for teaching and things like that. But there's also sort of like weird books in, I think last time we had one in Shawnee. So like the equivalent of a written Shawnee language. And that's where during our session 0, we got a little bit of a mission. But right now, Phineas enters after his class with his leather briefcase and sees all of you sitting around the table ready for your weekly sort of check-in, or as you call it, the chat and chew.
I think Phineas
made that up.
Like takes his hat off and just tosses it to Zeke. Catch.
Got it. Puts it down to the
Thank
side.
you. That was great. I love that class. I didn't have the book though. Sasha, do you got a book on Greek poetry? Because I was just kind of making it up as I went along. I didn't get that one.
Anyone in particular, or just a book of Greek poetry? Aeschylus.
Is he the one that flew into the sun?
No, that was Icarus. I don't believe he's
Right. We
well
talked about
known
him.
for poetry.
Sure. Okay.
I'm just gonna get you a Greek poet. Get just one second.
Yeah, anyone will do. Anyone will
just-
do.
Excellent. I'd love to do that.
To be honest, Saoirse, they're idiots. I don't think the kids can tell the difference if it's not Greek anyway. Just any poetry.
Homer. Okay.
Homer. Sounds great.
You all settle in around the table, and out of nowhere, as you least expect it, standing next to you is Ihawi, who is, for those, I don't think Sid wasn't here for session 0, so I need to describe Ihawi. Ihawi is a Lakota Sioux. They have masculine features, but dress in feminine dress. And when you were assigned to this post by Washington's the Culper Ring, by those spies, Howie came with the house, and you don't have any reason to think they're up to no good, but you don't pay them. You don't, oversee their work, but they are, for lack of a better term, your Alfred. They're the ones who make sure that the house is taken care of, that your linens get changed. They are the ones that sign kids up for classes. They do all the administrative work, and they intercept your deliveries to get them to you in one piece. And just as the meeting is supposed to start, Howie is standing at one end of the table, and they've just sort of like sidled into the room, and all of you do a little bit of a double take as they're standing there.
Jeez, dude.
Hello?
Gosh. I mean, can we like put some bells on you or something?
Yeah, really.
I could wear bells. Yes.
I don't think bells will be necessary. Do you need something?
I was hoping to participate in the meeting.
Yeah. I mean, pull up a chair or something.
Yes. First, I believe last time we left off on telling everyone what you did on your summer vacation.
Right.
And
yeah.
so,
yeah.
you were in Boston, and then you moved here. Did you do anything else, Mr. Z?
Well, I did a lot of something. But also,
what was that?
Saoirse blushes, completely
Anything you want
unrelated to what Zeke just said.
Anything you two want to share with the class?
Oh, what exactly? Well, me and Saoirse, we decided to take in the city. When we first got here, we went on one of various tours of the city, taking in the various sites. Did you know there is an area in this city? Well, we discussed this earlier, that there's an area in the city where people just go into bushes and just have sex in public.
Howie nods.
Yeah.
Vauxhall Gardens, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
there's like about 7 of them in the city. 7
Yeah,
exactly.
I heard of pleasure gardens, but I didn't know it was quite so literal.
Yeah, there's 7 of them exactly in this city.
Howie looks around, not as like he's there leading the discussion, but like says, would anybody else like to share any details about what they did in bushes?
What? I mean, we didn't all just spend our time in bushes like some people.
No, I didn't spend my whole time in bushes. I'm saying
No.
this is one of the things that I did. Also, I scouted locations because I'm trying to create an upstanding business for the young folk inside of this city.
Right. How many of those places that you scoped were pleasure gardens? Because it sounds like
5.
all 7 of them.
5 of them were. The other 2 just happened. We just happened to find them, and we decided to partake in them.
Okay.
It really does seem like a good place to get butts in seats, for lack of a better word.
Oh, there's butts and seats, all right.
Sounds like you
Butts
really.
and bushes.
Sounds like you really took it all in.
Well, speaking of a reputable business, unless anybody has any other new business, there's something we need to discuss. And they look to make sure that there's no one else in the room, and they say, in order to maintain your cover, we have to be a successful business. And, well, attendance is not as good as it could be. You don't need to pay to keep the bills paid and the collectors paid, but with people leaving the city more and more, it's harder to find new students. I'm open to any ideas, but maybe an event of some kind, or perhaps some sort of initiative.
How bad
I
is
think
it?
both would be a great idea.
Well, the 4 people in your class today was encouraging, but if we are to appear as a functioning school, we will need more than that.
All right. We need more than 4 people. We could do one of those recruitment drives around the city. Put some posters up saying, "Hey, we got a school here ready to teach people."
I mean, an event would be nice. Like,
Yes.
especially if it was like something, I don't know, like a little a gathering or a ball. I don't know, balls maybe too much for us. But something that people need these skills for, and so they, encouraging them to come to the school after because they don't maybe, so that they can do all the things.
A good social dance never goes amiss, especially if Zeke, you have been recruiting in, well, relatively fruitful environs. I'm sure that you could get some of those younger recruits to come join us for that.
I think I've been gathering up a bunch. A lot of these young kids, all they really just want is a place to yell about how pissed off they are. I mean,
Well, what are 2 things that teenagers want more than anything? 1, a place to yell about how pissed off they are. We can do that. 2, they want to impress the people that they like. We can do that too.
well, well, why don't we ask a young person who wants to do stuff in the world? Hey, Phineas.
Yeah.
What about you? What is it that you like to do most in the world? Someone of your age.
Like to do most in the world. Oh, I got it. So back in Vermont, when it was like kind of a full moon, me and my buddies used to go out just down the road there. I mean, you had to go through like a few fields and whatnot, but there was this farmer who used to keep his cows out at night. We'd go out there and go cow tipping. Everybody loves cow tipping. Why don't we do a cow tipping party?
It's not exactly etiquette to do that, though, which is kind of the point of the school.
And more
Okay.
specifically, cows can't walk upstairs. So it would be really difficult to get
Got
them
me
into
there.
the building.
Got me there.
True facts. Cow can't actually walk upstairs.
You heard it here.
Okay.
I think something along the lines of perhaps a social dance. We could also, showcase some of Nessa's needlework, some of the artwork, some of the lovely poetry, some of our calligraphy. There's several things I think we could showcase to bring in more students.
Howie's nodding at
I
this and
agree.
writing all this down.
We just take up a collection for admittance to the dance, and then, of course, offer some helpful, convenient lessons leading right up to it.
Hmm.
All right, but I mean, Zeke, you got your poetry and Contentment. I know you can sing,
Mhm.
and Nessa, you got your needlepoint, and Sasha, I mean, you're wicked smart. You could just like read some poetry or read a book or something, or display some of your artwork.
She points at the wall.
Or that, yeah. But I don't know. What am I gonna do? I mean,
Well, can you teach fencing?
There's a thought.
not the fancy way that they like it. I mean, most
Yeah,
of my sword
but-
fighting techniques involve drop kicking someone in the balls.
Yeah,
so,
but Phineas, in this world that we're living in, anybody would love to learn to fight in any kind of fashion. So,
It's true.
especially some young kids who just want to go out there and just fight a bunch of these lobster heads out there in the streets.
yeah, maybe a self-defense class,
There you go.
and then teach them how to talk to lobsterbacks in the street. Do like a know your rights kind of seminar.
Oh
Exactly.
my gosh.
Oh, this is good. I could do this.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. I'm doing a seminar.
Yeah, Howie's nodding and says, yes, very good. We could connect these a dance with special seminars included as well.
What are you gonna do,
Even
Howie?
a light dinner to do, some etiquette.
Yes. I will not be doing much, just cleaning the building, cooking all the food in preparation for our guests, sending out invitations, publicizing it through local publications and things like that.
That's
That sounds like
That
a lot
is
of things. that
Quite
you
a
would be
lot
doing.
of work.
Yes,
Yes.
It's fine. And Howie just sort of stands up and says, "Oh, when would you like to hold this event? How soon?
Ooh.
The sooner the better, I would say."
I'll say
Your
sooner the better.
favorite.
Yeah, just long enough to maybe throw in a few classes beforehand, get people all interested, get a bit of income as well, maybe like a week or
Ooh.
two.
1 week, I could do.
I would also say, do we maybe have like I know you said it's September. Do we maybe have like a local festival or an event or some kind of like popular patron saint day coming up that we could use? People want to take
To draw
advantage of
business.
the festivities. Everyone needs a
How about
little bit of
flyers?
a break from the war and
Sure. How about anybody who wants to roll me a rumor test and see if they've heard about anything coming up?
also,
Good
I would like
rumor.
to use my actually talent.
Okay. All right. Tell everyone about that.
So it says, my freewheeling, indulgent ways have garnered me many unique experiences and diverse acquaintances, however brief our time together. And it is often brief. Whenever you attempt to determine whether you've heard of someone, a story, or other folktale, roll a d6. If the result is a 6, you immediately recall a factoid about it.
Okay. Well, let's start there.
It was a 5.
Oh, so
I'll
close.
just do a normal rumor.
Okay.
My rumors, I gotta get under an 89 on rumor. So
Oh my gosh.
Holy
it's
shit.
real good, y'all. My fellowship's good.
That was a big
Oh, I got a
success.
5.
I got a
Yeah, I got a
77.
25.
That's a crit.
That's a crit
It's a crit,
success.
right?
Nice.
Yeah.
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 That is. Yep.
Yeah.
So
Woo.
2 7s. That is a critical success. So
I
mean,
got a
that just-
93.
I would say that Saoirse is aware of a street fair that's happening in 2 days, the 15th of September, not too far away at the Commons, which is a large grassy area, like cities used to have, the predecessor of Central Park. And it is not far from the school, and there will be entertainers, and there's going to be food carts, and it might be a good place to spread some publicity about the school or your event or whatever you'd like to do.
Oh, we need to get one of those really cool little vendor tables, and maybe we could get some of the students to exhibit their works and arts and crafts type of things. We can be like, hey, we want your child to be able to do blackwork stockings, send them to our school, and they can learn under Mistress Nessa. Yes, this is great. This is a great idea.
Perhaps we could even get in touch with any of the performing musicians. Maybe we could convince someone to make an announcement during one of their performances as well.
Ooh. Okay.
All right.
Always a great.
Okay.
All right.
Howie writes down some, but you should be writing them down as well to remember all the things you want to do. And this is coming up in 2 days. It's the 13th. The festival is on the 15th. And so you sort of make note of that. And Howie nods and they sort of say, yes, this will be good. It will be difficult to maintain viable in this stage of the war, but this is as good of an idea as anything. Oh, and they take this big sort of brown paper wrapped parcel of books and sort of sets them down and says, I'm sorry, no special deliveries today, but here are some books, including, I think, and they pull out a copy, like some Euripides, and they're like, hand it to Phineas.
Oh, this will be fun.
Oh boy, this is gonna
There we
be.
go.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That may be an interesting read. Maybe go through that before your next class.
I can't even pronounce it, Sasha.
Please try.
Euripides.
Close. Not ripe like fruit. Rip like a parchment.
Euripids.
Idis. Like
Euripids. D's.
nuts. Yeah. So close. Just put it all
Euripids.
together.
Euripids of D's nuts. That's what you said.
That's actually that's the closest you've gotten, actually. So that's pretty good.
I'm just doing what you said.
No, that was very well done.
After that exchange is over, you look up at how he's gone.
Yeah.
Has floated from the room like a ghost. So, just have no idea where they went. But standing in the doorway is an unfamiliar figure to everyone except for Phineas, and it's big Klusterskatter.
Oh god.
Is standing there in the doorway, and I haven't really described them. They're in their mid-20s. They are wearing a powdered wig, as I would wear if we got 5 more retweets. And they are dressed in like knickerbockers, like with the white tights up to their knees, and sort of like the poofy pantaloons. And they've got like the little pilgrim hat that's like jauntily turned to the side. And you know what I mean? Like it's got a buckle on it, and it's like
Oh,
that.
at an angle. I thought you meant the
Yeah.
buckle was
The
on the
hip
side. And I
pilgrim.
was like,
No, the hat is
okay.
jaunty, not the buckle.
It's
hanging off.
Hanging off to the
it's
side.
good fashion. The buckle's hanging off to the side.
And they've got a walking stick that they're holding between their thumb and their forefinger, and they're just like standing there, and they say, "Hello."
Hello, young master. Oh, fucking hell.
Klusterskatter.
Excuse me.
Klusterskatter.
Gotcha.
Klusterskatter.
Is that
Klusterskatter.
Dutch?
Yes, it is very good. Your pronunciation is very good. You say, I was hoping to speak to Professor. What was your fake name? Warren?
Warner.
Warner. I was hoping to speak to Professor Warner privately about his lesson from today. When is your office hours?
And he realized that he never told anybody else his fake name.
Who's Professor
Mhm.
Warner? Who's Professor Warner? I think you got the wrong name.
Warner.
Who?
Warner.
Uh-huh.
Professor
Yes,
Warner?
Steve.
Professor Warner, right here.
Oh, yes, of
Oh,
course. That
Warner,
Professor.
Warner.
Sorry, guys, I
Yes.
just-
okay.
I just
Yes,
walked in.
of
They
course.
didn't see me. Right back
More
here.
tea.
Yes, maybe just a private audience with you, if that's all right. It's
Yeah,
here in the hallway, is fine.
sure. Yeah, no, that's fine. And he like walks out, and as he like walks by Ezekiel, he's just like, if I'm not back in 5 minutes, assume that I'm dead.
Yeah, gotcha.
In a similar vein, I wanted to ask, for lack of a better term, I'd like to do the 18th century version of a vibe check on this guy.
Sure. How about
Because I've gotten some really like fishy I was like,
yeah.
is that Dutch? Because you're
Yeah.
when he speaks, I'm like, is this like a fake accent?
Exactly,
What?
fish
I'm gonna
guy.
try and read this guy. I do.
Okay.
Hessian.
Let me see. Okay. Do you have a particular thing you want this role to be? I was thinking scrutinize is maybe
Scrutinize is great.
applicable, or was there anything else you were like?
I like scrutinize. Go ahead with that.
Okay. All right.
Let's see how it goes.
Got a beat of 62, and I got a 68. That's
no.
Well, I don't want Phineas to die in a hallway, so does anyone mind if I use the last?
Where
point
do you
for
want
now?
him to die?
Yeah.
What?
Do you have a preference on where you want me to
Die,
die?
die somewhere else?
Like at home in bed at the ripe old age of colonial ripe old age, surrounded by his loving family. What do you think
40.
I am?
No, in other words,
Colonial ripe old age.
colonial
Alright,
rebel
I'd like
age is
to-
50, so.
Oh, I'd like
Yeah.
to use a coin, please.
All right, go for it.
Hey, that's much better. That's a 52. This is
Okay.
success.
Nope. This seems very much to you to be someone who is definitely named Biggs Kloosterskatter and is a totally normal
Okay.
person.
So he's just like that.
Mhm.
Awesome. Cool. I feel much more confident allowing
You feel
Professor Warner to speak
uncomfortably
with this
confident
student. Yes.
is what we'll say.
Mhm.
You feel like, oh,
Mhm.
that must be him. What? Like, why would such a ridiculous person exist? Like, that's the question that lingers in your mind, right? Is anyone else doing anything to
I mean,
you know?
Zeke is just.
I'm just looking. I'm laughing at chat with all the Euripides jokes.
I couldn't not. I'm sorry.
It's very good.
It's a requirement. It's a
You're not
requirement.
sorry.
It is, though.
All right.
I mean, like, Zeke is, like, looking at this large child.
Yep.
Yes.
Mhm.
It's like, I mean, look, if Phineas trusts this kid, then okay.
Oh, I ain't saying that.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll let you go along with that.
Sweet.
I think he's just like that. Contentment like leans into the group to the table.
No kid is like that. No kid looks like that by purpose.
I just love imagining
You know-
Biggs Kloosterskater is sitting here like, I'm right here. Like, I can hear you guys.
I
Like,
hear everything y'all are
Mhm.
saying.
Mm-hmm. And Big, he is right there. And he's just like
Standing.
nodding vacantly and like waiting for Phineas to leave the room with him.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's just completely forgotten that interaction is happening and has already like written down a very basic like flyer that they can write out and has translated it into like 4 different languages already. So
Sweet. I love it. So you are escorted out into the hallway by Biggs Kloosterskatter. He sort of like comes in very close to you. He's like, hey, Professor Warner.
yes.
I'm going to lean in the very close.
Maybe not
Have
too
this
close.
conversation with you.
Smell like garlic.
That is cheese.
Okay.
I had the cheese sandwich after class.
You had a cheese. Oh, that's okay. Good. You wash down the pastry with cheese sandwich.
I
That's a
did
normal
notice
person thing to do.
the poetry you noticed today. He has a little bit of a message behind it now.
A little bit
And
of
he reaches up and he like touches his finger to his nose.
It would make
Yeah.
it worse if he touches Phineas's nose.
Yeah,
reaches over.
he does. And then he reaches and goes, dip.
A bit.
Boop with an umlaut over the O's. Did.
He says, perhaps we have some similar views on the monarchy.
On the what?
On the monarchy.
Do you have marbles in your mouth? What the fuck are you saying to me?
I have some cheese left over. One moment. Just stuck it in my gums. It's a very soft stick of cheese.
Yeah, I smell that. Could you
I
maybe?
thought maybe we had some similar views on the monarchy. And he boops you on the nose again.
Please don't do that.
Okay, I will stop.
Tell you what, can you just like maybe leave a little room for Jesus here? You kind of really.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes, but we must speak with hushed tones.
Yeah.
Okay. I think maybe that we have maybe mutual friends, like maybe either General Putnam, maybe a General Washington.
Kid, what are you trying to say to me? You want to be a rebel?
Oh, what if I told you? He says, he's very close to you again. You can smell the cheese. What if I told you that I was already a rebel? And what if I told you that you have been fooled by my brilliant disguise? And he like pulls off this horribly like small strip of facial hair off of his face. And he says, my real name was Nathaniel Hawthorne, and you've been fooled, for I'm a spy working for General Washington. I understand that you were taken in by my flawless impersonation of someone from Holland.
Is that where that was from? Wow. I learned
Yes, of
something
course.
today.
But I'm working here undercover.
Uh-huh.
I've come here with a matter of some importance that I believe you and your friends can help me with. And at that point, like, someone goes walking by and he like slams the beard back on his face. He's like,
All crooked.
it's a rat. It wasn't Ethan cheese. It was a very tasty.
All right. All right. You got something you can show me to kind of prove your credentials?
Hey, perhaps I can show you this. And you remember that when you got promoted to corporal, General Washington gave you kind of like a coin medal. You remember? Like it was one of the first medals that they used within the war, and it was it's sort of like it had a little like his insignia on it, right? And he holds out like one of those same little coins. It's much smaller. It's like closer to the size of a penny, but it bears kind of a printing of that of Washington's like seal, we'll say, for lack of a better word. Says,
Wow.
yes, of course. I understand that you both have to keep a low profile, but you have to forgive me for my disguises. Would you all group be willing to help me in a time such as this?
First of all, Nate, can I call you Nate?
I prefer to use my alias, Biggs Klooster Scatter.
Yeah. Well, first of all, you said you hope I forgive you for this, and to be honest, I don't know if I'm ever going to forgive you for this particular character of yours. But
You don't like it?
look, it's not so much the execution. I think you're doing a great job. I think everybody was very taken in. It's just unsettling, shall we say.
Most of the other people I've shared it with found it very convincing.
Certainly. No, I mean, hey, I really believe that you were a creepy guy who smelled like cheese. So,
well, they didn't call me out at all. Most of them refused to talk with me, at least in close proximity.
That's how good the disguise was.
Yes.
But
We'll have to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, maybe a new character and one with a less ridiculous name. Whatever. But look, if you're looking to help, I'm happy to work with you. And your credentials check out, so.
Well, yeah. Here's what I need for you to do is we had a report come across our desks, those of us in the ring, that would be out of our range of specialty. There's a man, his name is Caradoc Bryce.
Caradoc Bryce.
Yeah. Yes. Caradoc is a rebel by trade. He is a close friend to General Putnam, who commands the forces here. Well, he's reported some strange occurrences at his home.
Strange occurrences?
Yes, of course. When I brought this to General Washington, his first thought was that, well, there was another attempt by the British Army to use foul magics to give them advantage in the war.
All right. Can you tell me what kind of strange occurrences we're talking about here, though? I assume you say
Well,
foul magic, so something
yes, of
creepy
course.
and spooky. And
He was reluctant to be specific, but noises, things moving. He seemed very concerned about the disappearance of some items in his home. Yet no sign of any sort of intrusion.
Okay. Sounds creepy and spooky and just the kind of thing that my friends and I tend to look into.
Yes. Well, here, I'll give you his address. He hands you a piece of paper with Bryce's address. He says, when you're ready, I will leave it in your hands. You won't be seeing me. And he puts like the beard back on his face. If I can. And he like backs out of the room, making eye contact with Phineas all the way, like backs down the hallway, like very dramatically, until he's out of the door and out onto the street.
Phineas
then,
like he keeps his gaze just bewildered as he.
Right. He backs out the front door, and then you hear a loud crash, and you hear a voice from outside go, "Oh no!"
I have no idea what just happened. Phineas walks back into the room with everybody else, holding like.
We can get a table, right? And at the table, I can do a 3-card Monty game. Look, we don't have to do it, but just saying is, I can bring in a lot of cash if I just, fleece some of these redcoats that walk around this party. Hey, Phineas, how you doing?
I don't know.
You all right, kid? Okay, you seen a ghost or something?
I'm guessing that the not Dutch dandy wasn't there to talk about the contents of the lesson today?
No. Wait, you knew he wasn't Dutch?
I speak Dutch as a pretty obviously fake accent.
And looking back on it, like you're just kicking yourself. Like, of course that guy's not Dutch, but he did have a special ability called nom de guerre, which allows him to have a secret identity that nobody can see through. And, so as ridiculous as his outfit was, it was impenetrable.
I think my student, is he my student anymore? I don't know. Apparently I'm never going to see him again.
Yeah, what do you mean?
He's,
Oh no. Did he want a refund?
We cannot supply refunds to these people.
we don't do refunds. There's no way.
No. Education is a priceless treasure. You don't issue refunds for that. That's not a thing. What are we going to do? Take back his knowledge? What were you teaching? Oh, right. Greek poetry. Yes.
Nominally.
Oh, we're not taking back his knowledge of Greek poetry. What do you want?
His name's actually Nate, and he's one of Washington's spies. He had the seal to prove it and everything. He wasn't just blowing smoke up my ass. He had his credentials.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I know. Weird. I don't know why he went through all the trouble of being a weird guy who smells like cheese. But
wait, and he was able to pick you out?
Was the cheese smell part of the disguise?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, Dutch, they do like their cheese. I think perhaps that was part of it.
And that's very well thought out.
Yeah, hindsight. Yeah, pretty good job, actually. Yeah, we could learn a thing or two from him.
All right, so what did he say exactly?
There's this guy, Fred of General Putnam, name's Caradoc Bryce. Anybody heard of him?
Have we?
Ooh, how about a rumor check from anybody?
I'll do it.
I'm gonna do a well actually, because I can't.
Do a well actually.
Well actually.
I got a 44. What?
That's a good.
I rolled a 7.
Hey, I got a 42. Which is good.
I don't have rumor, but I
mean, well, then you would just lose it. They would just make that check harder for you, right? But you still nailed it. So lots of big successes, especially Zeke. So we'll give it to Zeke and say that you have heard, you've tried to, in your social dealings, and we can discuss that later, what Zeke does when he goes out and, gathers information. You've made an effort, let's say, to try and recover names of continental soldiers rebels who might be good points of contact. And this name came across your attention once, whereas he's one of sort of the like most tenacious hangers-on of New York City, in that recently, especially after the loss of Long Island, Washington and his forces, some of them are here in Manhattan, a lot of them have moved up to the north end of the island. They've gone uptown, and there's only a handful of commanders and officers down here in Lower Manhattan, and one of them is this Caradoc Bryce fella. He is a corporal, I think. No, wait, a colonel. He's a colonel, and so he's a Welshman, and he he's one of those guys who like refuses to give up his home when the gentrifiers come in to buy everything out. He's not going to leave Manhattan because he loves Manhattan.
I nodded like, yeah, I know about that guy. He's a colonel. I gotta admit, the guy, I look up to that guy. The guy, when people come in and try to kick him out, he ain't moving. He's been sticking around in like his home. He ain't moving no matter how many of these loyalists come through trying to frighten him or whatever. He's just right there. He's just standing his ground. You gotta respect guys like that. Looks like he comes from a bit of a upper area of New York City.
I can respect that.
Yeah, I can totally respect that. I mean, it just seems like to me, like people from that upper area of New York City just seem to be a lot tougher from the guys from the lower area of New York City. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it's because like they come from that Kings County area. I thought I hear that the Kings County area in New York City has a lot of really tough customers out there. Not much like the Queens County. The Queens County, that's more of like, you know, like the suburb area. It's still under wasp, but the Kings County, that's where all the real tough guys come from.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like up circa.
Wally, remind us where you live.
Are we talking about Wally here?
Relevant? Or
I hear all the best characters are up circa like 95th and
Oh yeah, yes.
Yeah.
95th in Amsterdam.
Yeah, around those areas. That's where a lot of those guys are. Yeah.
Contentment just mutters, well, I've been living in New Jersey for a while. Yeah. You know,
Anyway,
New Jersey's the
family
big bad.
farm. My dad died, kind of had to run the farm for a while, and then the war comes, and you know, you're just kind of drifting around, displaced and wandering. And so, yeah, did he want to hire us for something or what?
Well, you may be displaced and wandering, but at least you're not in Jersey anymore. So
That's
Kind of a win.
yep, that's
anyway, Bryce, this character, he's a buddy of Putnam, so good guy to be connected with, and you'll never guess what's going on. He's having things going bump in the night. Lots of spooky, creepy things happening, lots of weird sounds and stuff. And he's thinking maybe the British are doing their thing they were doing before and screwing around with lots of weird, creepy black magic and whatnot.
Considering the last time we encountered those British, they had, and I quote, giant ants.
giant
as guard
ants.
dogs.
Giant ants.
Giant ants as guard dogs.
Did he describe anything that sounded like evidence of giant ants, or are we looking at something different?
You know, now you mention it, I should have really directly asked about the giant ants. He didn't have anything to say about that, no. Just, it's pretty vague, but...
To be fair, if it was giant ants, he probably would have mentioned that. They're pretty memorable. So,
I feel like that would be very relevant if he had actually witnessed giant ants with his own eyes.
yes, he would have told us giant ants popping out of the fuck bushes.
Oh, God. You think the giant ants fucking the fuck bushes?
Probably
Everyone fucks
underground
the fuck
beneath
bushes.
the fuck bushes, because that's kind of how ants do. But
Birds do it, bees do it.
Giant ants.
we should really be
Even
teaching
giant
more
ants do it.
science classes. You know, if people are going to defend themselves against the threat of the incoming British, they also need to be able to defend themselves against the giant ants, you know, red coat insect army.
I mean, it really falls under the same umbrella when you think about it.
Yeah, it really does.
Maybe in my self-defense class, I could sneak in something about how to fight giant ants.
I mean, we already are doing that life drawing. I mean, I could
That's true.
step that up to something a little more advanced if we think that's necessary.
Not a bad idea. All right. Well, so we got this. What's the plan here? Should we look into this first? Should we start planning our event?
Well, it feels like
Was he
to me
going
we could,
to? Is he going to pay us for looking into this for him? I mean, we've got a school to run here. We can't exactly be just doing this work for free. Did they offer anything at all? Anything?
It sounded like he was kind of, he's well connected, so I think he's kind of like paying us an exposure. So
You see, that's
Exposure
that's the
does
thing.
not pay our bills.
That doesn't pay the
No.
school bills, man.
Plenty of people
No.
die of exposure, but nobody ever died of a paycheck. We need to go back and renegotiate our
Well,
terms here.
maybe this guy that we're gonna go help out, maybe they'll pay us.
All right,
why don't we
that's
at least
fair.
talk to the guy first before
We should
start
talk to the
messing
guy.
Yeah.
I just don't want to wind up doing this work getting paid in cheese. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. No,
Yeah,
I feel that.
that's not going to work.
Now, hey, don't
I
get
mean,
me
we
wrong.
can
though.
add some cheese to the payment, but let's at least get some money as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
Yes,
love
I'm.
cheese.
Oh yeah, it's just
Yes,
like
I mean,
exactly, exactly.
I'll go to town on a good camembert, you know.
Oh, also, hey, just while I'm thinking of it, speaking of cheese, Howie volunteered to do all the cooking for the event, but I gotta be honest, I really don't care for Howie's cooking very much at all. Nessa,
I can hear what you're saying.
Fuck.
Where did you come from?
Are you in the ceiling?
You don't see them.
Like
You don't see them. They're just somewhere.
in my head canon, Yahweh's just like washing the windows from outside the house, and so their voice like drifts in through the walls because then we just don't realize that they've been washing the windows.
They're speaking very loudly.
The disembodied window washer throwing their voice.
Fuck. Nessa, do you think maybe you could cook something instead? You're much better than here. There you go.
Okay, you're still sorry, Howie. I can
I'm
I
whispering.
can help him in cooking some things. I'm sure we can. Mrs. Doyle's can probably bring some
Do we- do we-
pastries.
do we
I'm sure we
really
can
gotta-
get some.
Do we really gotta go to Mr. Doyle? Because I no, like, I'm just saying, I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop with her. Is what I'm saying. I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Mrs.
what
Doyle.
did you say to her?
Well, doesn't she also give us a little bit of a I mean, you know, but she's because she swings the other way in that sense. She
does.
gives us
Yeah, she does.
that extra
Please
little
be more
tick
specific
mark.
of your definition of swinging the other way, because
okay.
one seems not relevant to this situation.
It's
Right,
not the
okay.
sex swinging the other way. It's the
No.
loyalism swinging the
Yes.
other way. Yeah.
Yeah,
got it.
Monarchy, views on the monarchy that
We
I
know
mean,
that-
I could find out if it's also the sex thing, but
Again, whatever.
That might not be
I don't
relevant.
feel that might not be relevant.
We'll say
Sorry, wrong
Unless-
terminology. I should go back to that class.
I'm not saying I wouldn't be interested in learning that, but it's not necessary.
let me do
Right.
some. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, just that's
Sorry.
I clearly said the wrong thing, but you know that's I just think that's not a bad thing necessarily. We'd obviously don't want to talk about what we're actually doing in front of her. I'm not stupid, but she can give us that clout that we're doing something that we should be doing when we're not actually doing something we should be doing. Do you know what I mean?
That's
So
true.
you're
She
saying
can
because
vouch for it.
she's a loyalist, if we kind of stay close to her, then like it kind of makes us look more undercover?
Maybe.
Keep
I mean,
enemies close.
yes. And those pastries, butts and seats for the dance.
And those pastries are fucking
They're
good too.
really
They are good. I
They're
mean, I
really
can't
good.
Do a pastry walk.
A pastry walk,
Ooh,
Pastry
that's
walk.
a good idea.
Like a cakewalk, but with pastry.
but with
Yeah,
pastry?
but with pastries.
That's one of those fancy things, right? Because is it like you walk around just take cakes off of trays or something? Like
Yeah, how's that work?
Well, you could win the pastries. It involves dancing.
no, wait, no,
Mhm.
hold on a second. What do you mean you win a pastry?
Think of it as, do you remember the children's game musical chairs? It's
Right,
very
yeah.
similar. So you would dance around. You would have small spots, markers on the floor. You'd dance around to the music. The music would stop, and then you would stop on your marker, and then we would draw a raffle. And if someone was standing on the appropriate spot, they would win a pastry.
Okay, all right, yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good. I will just put it out there right now that I will win all those fucking cakes.
You can't
You're
be
not
standing on every
allowed-
single spot at every
Yeah,
time.
you wouldn't. Exactly. And you can't tackle
Just watch 'em.
someone to take them out.
Well,
I believe in you, Zeke.
Thank you, Phineas.
I
Thank you.
do. Mhm.
Thank you, Phineas.
We are trying to teach etiquette. I'll just put that out there.
I mean, look, if you don't want me to get involved in this is for the students. All right, fine. I'll observe from the sidelines.
Yeah,
You can dance with me.
Thank you, Cersei.
We'll order extra pastries for you.
Thank you.
Nessa,
So-
maybe you and I should talk to Mrs. Doyle on our own. We'll go over a little bit. Just
Yeah. I think
go
you're
over
right.
there, just sit down, something about like local businesses on the same block collaborating and being invested in each other's success. Like we could really just get some rapport going here, Maybe she'll
So it sounds like you could just done that all night, but it sounds like you have a couple of things on your to-do list. You want to go to Mrs. Doyle's, which I think I gave. Oh, Doyle's Tarts. That's what we called
Doyle's
it during our
Tarts.
session 0. You want to do that, and you also want to go talk to this Caradoc Bryce, especially in regards to what are you going to pay us for helping you with your ghost. And was there something else too? I mean, you got a plan for this little party in the cakewalk, right?
Yeah, we got a plan for that
Yeah.
too.
Okay. The
I
question
want
is,
to
what
go
are you
maybe
doing?
talk to anybody else
first?
that's taking part in the festival in the next
Okay.
couple
Yeah,
of
you
days.
want to network about the festival.
Yes.
That's absolutely possible. What is your
one other
first
thing, but
order of
it's a
business?
secret.
Uh-oh.
I just need to talk to somebody.
Is it Biggs Klooster Scotter?
No.
Okay. So I'll bring him back. Oh.
No.
You need to
I
talk
think,
to in secret.
I think he got hit by a cart and he's dead now, I believe.
Oh no. He's never coming back. With his
gone.
cheese
Mr.
bread.
Scotter
He said Biggs will not be seen again. So
It's true. He did say that.
He's going to show up under the pseudonym Wedge Klooster Scotter. Same guy, same outfit,
Wedge Klooster
different name.
My gosh. So what we'll say is the party makes a decision about heading out. We'll decide where they're going during the break. Also during the break, the wig is going on because we hit 20 retweets. Yeah! And so when we return, my hair will be different, but our story will remain the same. Thank you everyone in chat for being here. We appreciate you hanging around. We'll be back in 10 minutes. So come back and join us in just a bit. come pick.
The whole rest of the show is that accent.
I can't not do it. Once I settle into that accent, it's just so natural.
Oh God, you settled
Oh
in.
God.
Settle in. It's part of me now. Welcome back to the Tamere Society, Flames of Freedom on InfiniteRP. I'm your historian, Doc Grimbo, and I'm wearing the wig. And it's glorious. Look, it's still here. I still got it. I hope you had a good break, and I hope that all of our friends in chat had a nice snacky snack and a drink and you're stretched and all ready to go. I had some string cheese.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, all the
Oh,
talk
okay.
of cheese made me
Cheese,
go and get
I
cheese.
did. I was like, I wonder if I got cheese. I got some.
Do we
macarons.
subliminally influence each other?
I kind
Yeah.
of
Wednesday and cranberry.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Holy
Wednesday
moly.
cranberry, delicious.
It's
sounds
very
great.
it's very Christmassy. I've had it like, and it's like, ooh, I haven't started that yet. I'm gonna eat that now because we talked about cheese.
Yeah. Well, let's save this discussion for our other Flames of Freedom show, Cheese Talk. And
That's the podcast.
Ori, hi, Ori.
That's
welcome
for
back.
the Patreon later.
When we left our group, they had a lead on a potential job and an assignment. They also wanted to plan some sort of an event to raise the awareness of the Tamere Society's front, their cover of educating for the kids, just for the kids. And also there was talk of pastries. So the question is, what is most important? What are you going to do first? This address that you got for Caradoc Bryce is, like 5 city blocks away. So it's not that far. Doyle's Tarts is right down the street. It's on the corner, but you can stop there anytime. And then the other question is, if you want to put time into planning, that's a montage, right? So what's the first stop?
Oh, we can go to that. Check out that address first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get business out of the way.
Are we splitting up to do these things happening at the same time, or are we all going to the same place?
It's up to you.
Maybe
I mean,
it would be best for like Nessa and Contentment to talk with Doyle. That might be a good idea. I think
Yeah,
that sounded good.
What are you trying to say?
I kind of don't want to be in the same room as Miss Doyle. I mean, look, I respect her and everything she does, but like I said, just waiting for that other shoe to drop. And
Yeah.
I don't want to be there for it.
So Nessa and Contentment are sent on a pastry run.
Yes.
If you're splitting up, and are the other 3 going to the address?
Yeah, that works.
Okay. Let's start with the pastry run. And so you walk down the street, and again, like when I picture New York, I picture modern New York, but of course it's not like that. It's a bunch of wooden clapboard row houses, streets partially paved. There's a little bit of pavement here and there. And it does have that familiar grid pattern, even back in the late 1700s. But it's just like a city block away for you to walk down to the end to Doyle's Pastries, which is Doyle's Tarts, which is situated on the first floor of a building that's not dissimilar to the Tamere Society's building, to Fairfax Hall. There is a bit of a line out the door as people are sort of waiting to, get tarts and stuff like that. And you can see Mrs. Doyle inside scurrying about, helping customers. The customers who are in line sort of look at Nessa and Contentment as if to say, like, try it. You know what I mean? And like they do that like passive aggressive thing where they look at you and then they look at the back of the line, Mm-hmm.
They're
What do you do?
Seattleites visiting from out of town.
Yep. Exactly. Gonna jump in line?
Yeah, can I just ask a quick meta question just because
Sure.
this interacts with my world's oldest profession quirk? Is Doyle considered a foe or a stranger? Or is she just like a person to me?
Well, she's not. I wouldn't call her a stranger,
Yeah,
right? Because you know of her as a
met,
businesswoman.
right.
She does have a different allegiance than you.
she does, but she's not a foe, right?
I don't think she means you any specific harm. No.
Okay, cool. Then that helps me out. Actually, hold on.
Sure.
There is. Okay, yeah, dressed to the nines. So when we attempt to persuade those of a different allegiance, 20% plus 20% base chance to charm.
Nice. Very good. So, settle into line. What do you talk about as the line moves ever slowly forward?
So, Nessa,
Yeah.
you're doing okay post Vauxhall Gardens. You really took a lot of hits from those giant dog-sized ants.
You know, I've been around a bit. I'm kind of toughened by it all. I mean, you know, yeah. So, I mean, I feel like sometimes I'm used to everything we possibly see, and then all of a sudden there's giant ants the size of dogs, and I have to remind myself that that's normal for us.
The person in front of you in line turns and looks at you as if you've got some sort of problem. And then they turn back around.
I fall into her slightly, or them her. I'd be like, you know, have you had that with the giant thing? Did we have whiskey or rum just now? Was it both? I feel like it was both.
I'm going to just like look kind of to Nessa and then to the person in front of us in line and back again, and just be like, well, who are we to question the ways of the Lord? For all God's creation, including giant ants, work together for good. And I just like pat them. Yes, I did just like put giant ants in scripture quotes for them.
Would that be skullduggery?
I guess so. It's more just like, let's smooth the waters over so this person will stop giving us the evil eye in line. Like, mind your own business.
Yeah, they sort of turn back around then.
Yeah.
Sort of like, don't pay you any mind.
Well, you know, I just ask because it's always, well, not always necessarily, but frequently the people that spend a lot of time, you know, supporting others and supporting the rest of the group and patching everybody else up, you know, don't take care of themselves, and that's important. And I just, you know, want to check in on that. And
well, I mean, one thing I tried to do over the summer when I visited the some of the camps, some of the native areas, to learn more about the herbs and the things, I learned a bit about the self-care. So how important that is, and you need to take time for yourself. That's why it's just sometimes you just go to your special place and you just sit there and you think about the giant ants. And I kind of just glance at the lady or whoever is this, she's still looking. And you think about those, and then you remember that you're worth it. I'm worth it, and I'm good, and I'm healing, and you know, you just take that little time for yourself, and that just self heals you. You know, even just thinking about it, you can do a bit of that. Or so some of the herbs really good. So then they really help too. So you usually add a few of those as well. But yeah, I just, you know, as long as everybody else is good, I'm good. That's kind of how I feel. Unless I've fallen 500 feet or whatever I did last 6 months ago. I don't know. It was a lot, but you know, it happens.
A slight quarter turn from the person in front of you again.
Container's just straight up, do you mind? At this point.
I think Nessa's kind of hoping that she's going to get so weirded out or annoyed that she's going to leave and just give us that.
Yeah, exactly. We get the spot in line. Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. I don't know. Why doesn't Nessa roll me I don't know, this is a weird inverted charm test, isn't it?
Can I assist you?
It could be intimidation, but I don't think you want to roll that.
Can I assist you?
Yeah, please do. So for an assist roll, for everybody watching, Anna's going to roll a tens die, and that lets Kate choose whichever tens digit she wants. So Kate will roll, and Anna will roll an extra 10 that she can pick from. Kate, what'd you get?
rolled a 9, so you're probably not gonna need that.
I rolled a
Hey.
68,
Ooh, very
which
close.
is what was I actually rolling?
That would be charm.
My 48 is my fellowship. I don't have a dot on charm, so
You're stuck in
no,
line.
I don't charm them at all.
Nope, you sure
They're
don't.
determined. They're going to listen, but they're like freaked out, but they want those pastries real bad.
And in fact, once you get to the front of the line and you are the second party in line, the people in front of you take extra long.
Oh, that's just
Like they're making small talk with Mrs. Doyle. They are choosing one thing and then having them put it back. It's very frustrating. But eventually they finish.
We know who they are. We know.
We do. They'll
And,
come back here one day to get their pastries, and we'll know, and we'll remember.
It will. Yep, you'll meet them again. And Mrs. Doyle sees you finally approach, and she says,
"Oh, Mrs. Hussey, and Miss Nessa, so good to see you. Welcome."
How you doing? Busy day today.
Oh yeah, we've got some fresh loaves in. It's hard to find fresh bread in the city these days.
Well, that's why we come here.
It's probably the fault of the filthy rebels running around like rats in the street, eating up all our bread. It's like, go back where you came from.
Well, we are. I mean,
This is true. Most of us definitely did all come from England, although some of us came from many other places. But just yourself, Mrs. Doyle. I remember you saying, what county were you from originally in England?
Lancashire.
Oh, all right. So from the further north.
I'm sorry, I'm breaking Kate right now. With my awesome British geography.
It's fine.
I couldn't even do a Lancashire. I wouldn't know.
I'm just going with it.
It's like this case.
Beautiful, lovely
Northern,
place
yeah.
filled with
Northern.
the lakes and the mountains and the rolling green hills. You know, my father used to tell me stories about that. He was an Englishman, born and raised, of course. Myself and my siblings, being born here, have something of a natural love for the environs in which we grow up. I'm sure you can understand that, of course. It's a bit
Well,
beautiful.
environs are all well and good, but as long as the king's in charge of them, everybody's right. I don't know why these rebels feel the need to sort of cause a fuss and make a trouble.
Yes. So has it been interrupting your business very much? I know that our school next door has somewhat suffered a lack of enrollment thanks to the recent hostilities.
Oh, the Continental Army came through the other day. They was on retreat from Long Island. Some of them stopped in and bought some bread. They didn't even tip me.
And she like nods at the tip jar that's right on the counter.
Just like tisks loudly as if to say, oh no, what is the world coming to these days?
Yeah, all those soldiers probably limping their way back, and all that money they probably have in those pockets. And how unthinking of them that so bad.
It's true. And Mrs. Doyle, I'm sure that, being one of the king's loyal subjects, you naturally only accept British money rather than the new continental currency. Is that correct?
Oh, I don't even think that's real. I think it's funny money. It ain't got it ain't got the king's personage on it. I don't think.
Does Ms. Doyle take sunshine bucks? I think is the really important question. Yes. Oh,
she does.
Yes.
All right, now what can I get you, ladies? Can I get you some fresh rolls or some sausage biscuits?
Yes, we would like a sausage barm, strawberry tart, one of those pastries that's filled with sausages and baked beans. Actually, better make that 3. You know, Phineas, he's a growing young man and needs a lot of extra food if you've got it. Anything you've got sweet with walnuts? And we'll take about a dozen rolls. What do you think, Nessa?
Yeah, that's good. But we're also wanting to talk to you about a future business endeavor where we might work together on something that would provide you with a lot of business and us with a lot of amazing pastries for an event that we're doing very soon.
Oh, event
And
plan.
as she says that, I just want to help out by Contentment just like slowly counting out the coins like an old man paying for his pizza with single dollar bills. But she has 22 pounds worth of British currency. So she's
Excellent.
just counting out the exact sum that she knows all of this is going to cost and making very clear that we're lining it up. We're tipping generously, 25%, you know, got to adjust for the cost of living during a war and all that. So I want to do that to like help Nessa along with the persuasiveness.
She is putting these pastries all into like bags and boxes, everything that you've ordered for the crew, right? And then she's like, but she's kind of watching you do this. And as you do it, towards the beginning of the process of you lining all this money up, at first she's like,
I don't know if I could cater an event on short notice. When is it going?
and as like you keep lining up, she's like,
I'm sure I could find a way to do something.
We'd hate to go somewhere else. I mean, we love this business and we want to help and support you.
why don't you how about we have either one of you can roll this with an assist from the other one. I would suggest that Contentment would roll the charm test here, right?
Yeah, I don't have charm, so it's definitely a you. So I can roll. Can I do the same thing then? I can assist by rolling.
Yeah, roll a 10. So roll a 10's die, and then Anna has the option of using.
Oh, that's really good. Well, between Dress to the Nines and Talk Less, Smile More, I have a plus 30% base chance to Charm. And Charm is already at 62. So as long as we roll like under a 92, we're good.
A gimme, basically.
Yeah, cool. So I'll take Nessa's 8, and that's a 19 under a 92.
Ooh, okay, great. What did you roll, Anna? What was your?
I rolled a 79, so I still would have succeeded, but the help was really great.
Right. Excellent. And so she's like,
I could probably call in some favors and get my family to help. Yeah, sure.
And she's like piling all these things up. She says, "You just send me your order down the street." And she grabs like an extra sausage barm. And puts it on there. She goes,
"Give that to that young Phineas. He's got a hollow leg. He's got such a nice young man, not like the fucking rebels."
Yes, he is, and why should he not be? Thank you very much, Mrs. Doyle. We'll make sure that your name is featured prominently on all flyers, pamphlets, and advertisements that we have leading up to this school dance. We appreciate very much.
Associated with such a lovely school such as yours, so loyal to the crown.
Yes. Such a lovely school, educating the young people of New York City to think for themselves. Anyways, and I'll just like pick up all of the pastries and ta-ta, Mrs. Doyle.
God save the king! God save the king!
You head off. Meanwhile, we have a cut to the other group who are walking down a side street. I could just pick one, but it seems like this part of the city, you've moved over to like sort of the eastern side of the island a little bit. And over here, there's obvious signs that like there have been some skirmishes. One of the buildings you pass by like has a hole in the wall from cannon fire, something along those lines, and there are broken windows here and there. But standing in the middle of them is an inn, and that's the address you've been given. It's just it's sort of an inn, a public boarding house.
Okay. I like to think like as Zeke is walking, he definitely has his arm out so Cersei can hold on to his arm if she would like to. But he's definitely like keeping a lookout, keeping the head on swivel because this is looking pretty rough. And if it's looking like this, who knows who could be here?
Same.
Okay. Why don't you roll me awareness checks if you want to sort of like scan for any threats?
Awareness. Where's my awareness at? That's pretty good. That is a 65. I gotta get under 65. Oh, I got a 14.
Ooh, hot dog. Sid, were you gonna roll? You good?
Yeah. Shut the fuck up. I also got a 14. That's weird.
Adorable.
Oh, we match.
Twinsies.
What's Phineas doing while they're sort of like on guard?
Not being on guard.
Okay.
He is daydreaming about those sausage pasties that, like, and wishing that he had gone to the pastry shop instead of gone on this, because he's just
Always go to the
loves them.
pastry shop. Yeah, yeah.
The bean and sausage pasties are so fucking good.
You are headed now. You've turned. You're headed south, and you're sort of making your way downtown. Literally, and heading toward this inn when the two of you pick up the sound of hoof falls behind you, and there's this like cinematic moment where you see the most unusual sight. Most people here in the city are on foot. It's it's a walking city even then, and people make their way around town by foot. But coming down the street in kind of an echelon formation, like a flying V almost, is this group of 5 horses, and 4 out of the 5 people are black. They've got leathers and spats and shoot. What are they called, Kate? What are they called? With chaps? They've got chaps on their legs, and have these wide-brimmed hats. And when they move, and especially I think Zeke sees this, as they all move past, the person in the front is a woman of slight stature with shortly cropped natural hair, and is wearing the most unusual hat. It's kind of like Phineas's hat, but somehow cooler. And
True.
she just like looks at Zeke, even with his arm in Saoirse's, and looks at Zeke and sort of like tips her hat at him silently. And they just sort of ride on down the street in formation.
Like Zeke is watching that, like he just saw the coolest thing he'd ever witnessed in his existence on this planet. He's just like, that is so cool. Oh my gosh, they looked at me. Oh shit, hey Saoirse. Do you see these people on horses? They're so cool. You see that? People on horses, they look amazing. What the hell? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just.
You're really having a moment here, Zeke.
It's so cool. You see that? I mean,
It is.
wow.
How about Zeke? Would Zeke know who these folks are, or do you want to roll a check for it?
I think Zeke would know. I
Okay.
think Zeke would.
I'll let him share that as he sees fit. Then.
Yeah, he would definitely know about this. He looks up. He's like, all right, okay. So those guys are basically, they're called skinners. All right, skinners are basically people who go into like loyalist like farmsteads or anything like that, steal cows and horses from them and give them to the rebel army for their purposes. They pretty much just go from place to place, stealing from loyalists and just giving the goods to the rebels. But here's the thing though. The loyalists are doing the same thing as the skinners. So when the loyalists steal stuff from us, the skinners just go in and steal it back and bring it back to us rebels. It's amazing. They're so fucking cool.
I mean,
Did you wish to speak with them, perhaps?
They wouldn't want to talk to me. Nah. I mean,
You have an extensive background in procuring things.
I suppose so, yeah, but look at them.
I mean,
They're riding off.
don't get me wrong, they are much cooler than you, but
Oh, yeah, they are.
you're pretty cool. I think you could reach that level, you know?
Yeah,
It's
looks-
pretty cool, right?
I think Zeke is very cool.
All right. He like looks at the both of these like, all right. You know what? I'll meet you guys at the end. I'm just gonna talk to them. All right.
Gotta hustle, catch up. They're quite a distance down the street by now, even though they're moving at like a very slow canter.
He does that thing where like like the excited hop run of like I'll be right back. He like gives Cersei a hug and kiss and then just runs off. But like he tries to be cool about it. But after like 10 paces, he starts running like he's really excited down the street after them.
Wow.
Let's stay with Zeke then. And he just he goes.
Hey!
I never seen him move that fast.
They react
Only at dinner time.
Slowly and like with kind of understated grace, and the woman in front, who appears to be leading them down the street, sort of turns, and she has an unlit cigarette in her mouth. And
yeah, how you doing?
She says, "Yeah."
I saw you guys passing through. So I got an empty horse there. Just got back from a job.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool. I mean, I'm not like anything like you guys, but I was a highwayman myself for a bit. I would steal coaches from loyalists that would pass down the road and give them back to the rebels. It was down near Massachusetts and Boston way I operated around.
Is that right?
Yeah, and now it's kind of weird, coming to New York City and not much work here. I mean, I was hoping that maybe I get back into it. I'm a bit of a smuggler myself, a freebooter. I get people things that are hard to get.
She turns her horse and slowly comes closer to you, and you can feel her look you over from toe to top, like top of your head, like just give you the slow up and down. She's like, "We ain't smugglers."
I mean, I wasn't saying you're smugglers. I mean, I just got skills in.
She leans in closer and interrupts you and says, "We Skinners. You know what that means?"
Yeah, I know what it means. You steal from the loyalists and you skin them also if you have to.
If we have to, yeah.
Right.
What's your name?
Ezekiel. Everyone calls me Zeke.
All right, Ezekiel. She says, "My name's Tyree. I'm Tyree Price."
Nice to meet you.
You know how to ride a horse?
Yeah.
Got any folk tell you what to do, how to live your life?
No, I mean, I do what I can the way I want to do it. Make sure helping out everyone.
You ain't answer to nobody.
Well, I mean, no. I mean, I got work here I do in the city, but I don't answer to nobody. I'm my own person.
She nods. Says, "All right. Where you live?"
Oh, the school that's down the road, the Tamere Society. Yeah.
No, I don't know no school.
Well, that's where it's in. It's in the city. I get the address of where the society building is at.
Okay. And she says, "Yeah, all right, I know where that is. All right, maybe we come by, take a visit. You can teach us a lesson, huh?" And she, like, without saying goodbye, like, clicks her heels on her horses, and they just walk away right on down the road.
As like they walk away, like the camera is like kind of like focused on Zeke. He doesn't say like, fuck yeah, and he just turns around and he runs back.
Meanwhile, we pan back, and Phineas and Saoirse are watching this from like 100 feet away.
Yeah.
I've never seen him bounce on the balls of his feet like that.
He's doing it right now.
Is he dancing?
Is he dancing? Is that dancing?
I don't know. It could be a country dance.
I don't know the first thing. Yeah, yeah. But, actually, now I'm thinking about it. You came up with that idea. By the way, great idea about doing the pastry walk. With the dancing and the pastries.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool idea. I think we should absolutely do that. And I think it's going to be a big success. And you're going to get to show off your artwork, which more people got to see because you're really, really good.
Thank you.
I'm just happy that that's going to get publicly displayed and everything. But speaking of public displays, I was wondering. This is really embarrassing.
We're friends. You can share things. What is it?
I really at the when we put together the party, I really want to dance.
All right. I'm sure there'll be several people there that you could partner with. What's the problem?
Well, there's two problems, really. One, there's really only one person I'm interested in partnering with. And two, I have no idea how to dance.
Oh, well, the dancing part is very easy. I'm sure we could teach you a couple of dances. Well, there's more of the fancy ones, like the minuet. And then there are several country dances. I'm sure we could pick a few, maybe the Nancy Dawson, or yeah, there are a couple that are pretty easy to pick up.
Well, you see, I'm sure we can try, but I just want to let you know that you are not, if you're willing to do this, you are not the first person to try to teach me how to dance. It hasn't gone well in the past. I'm pretty bad.
What's happened in the past?
Well, there was the one time at the Bond wedding where I backed up into the table with the bridal party and set myself on fire on a candlestick.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. There was the one time that I, at another wedding, when I tripped a server who dropped a tray of steaming hot bananas Foster into somebody's face.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, that was nasty. All that caramelized sugar, 3rd-degree burn.
Oh, oof.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the through line there seems to be that you were trying to learn the dances in the moment, which can be a little, well, nerve making. Perhaps we should practice a little first, and that way, before the event, you feel more prepared.
All right. Yeah. Tell you what, how about back at the school? The old gym down in the basement?
Mm-hmm.
The one we use for storage down there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there? Maybe like this evening?
Sure, absolutely. We'll go through a couple basic steps, and I think you could definitely learn the minuet before the event.
Is that like a sexy dance?
There is hand holding.
Not exactly fuck bushes, is it?
Well, I don't think we'll be doing anything nearly as intimate as the fuck bushes at the event. We are trying to maintain our cover of respectability. But yes, the minuet, it is a partner dance.
Okay. Yeah, no, it sounds good. Yeah, that sounds good. And one last thing.
About the other one,
Oh.
well, I will admit that I have noticed a particular preference of yours to Ms. Nessa. Is that who you were referring to?
I mean, if I said no at this point, would you believe me anyway?
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Well, I think an event such as this would be the perfect opportunity for even just a friend to ask another friend to dance. And
Yeah.
perhaps after a dance or two, even, perhaps you could bring up the subject of being more than a friend.
Just to be clear, you're not referring to the fuck bushes.
No, I would maybe not jump from friend to fuck bushes immediately.
Okay.
There should probably be a little bit of courtship in between, perhaps.
Hand holding, right?
Hand holding is a very good start.
Okay, I can do that. But speaking of friends, you gotta promise me you're not gonna tell Zeke about this. He will never, ever let me hear the end of it.
Tell Zeke about what?
Speaking of which,
About you teaching me to
Zeke
dance.
is coming closer back up the street towards you at this point.
Oh, about you teaching me to dance.
That was me trying to say I won't tell him.
Yeah, tell me
Oh.
what.
You caught us. We were just about to head that way without you, but you're back.
Oh yeah. So I think we got some new students.
Really?
Those really cool people?
Yeah, I mentioned the school. They said they're gonna come by and check it out. I they want to talk to me, guys.
And
See?
as you reunite with each other, you find that you are standing in front of this inn. The address you were given. There it is.
Well, this is the spot, right?
Should we knock?
All right.
Sure. You gotta tell me all about those cool people later, though, Zeke. I want to hear all
I'll tell
about it.
you all about them. I will.
Knock on
Alright.
the door.
You go and knock. It swings open. It's a public space. There is like a pub in the front room, sort of a little tavern, and there's a handful of people inside. Yeah, they're all just sort of sitting and either eating or dinner or drinking. Some of them on their own, some with groups.
So do we
Guess
know who
walk up to the bar person.
There's a lanky gentleman behind the bar. Yes, can I help you?
Hello. We were actually looking for a Mr. Bryce. Caradoc?
Booming voice from the end of the bar says, "I'm Caradoc Bryce." And this sort of like man, must be in his 40s or 50s, big pot belly, and like his buttons are strained by the waistcoat that he's wearing. Sort of like spins around on his seat, and you see that he's got like a peg leg on one leg, and he uses a cane on the side to help support his weight, but with some great effort. He lifts himself up off of the chair, and he says, "And who do I have the pleasure of making such lovely acquaintances with?" And he leans over to like kiss Saoirse's hand, and he's obviously drunk because you can smell it.
Hello.
Go right ahead, Saoirse. Why don't you just introduce yourself to the lovely gentleman?
Be rude, sir. Sure.
I'm Saoirse. It's a pleasure.
Pleasure.
Right. I believe we may have a mutual acquaintance.
Oh, do we? In whom?
Finn, why don't you tell the gentleman who our mutual acquaintance is?
He looks at Zeke. Yes, Finn.
Go on, Finn.
It's Ezekiel. Pleased to meet you, sir. We have business. He looks so like, yeah. We have business to handle with you. If you don't mind, can we talk in a more secluded area?
Aye. And he turns to the barkeep and says, Teddy, we'll be in the back room. And he like turns around and like sways and stumbles back around the back end of the bar and through a door into a room in the back.
Okay, this is gonna be, we're dealing with a drunk guy, so yeah, we're dealing with a drunk. Let's go.
It's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be great. And he heads on to the back room.
You enter and he is pissing in a pot in the corner.
Oh,
He stops in the doorway.
Mm-hmm. He's got his back to you. It's still not great.
Give him a minute, guys. Yeah.
Sir, that's a saxophone. That's not a urinal.
I know what it is. A man like me can't take the time to find a proper piss pot. I use what I can. And he spins around, half zipped up. Not that they had zippers, but you know what I mean. He says, now, who's this mutual friend?
You may know him under a few different names.
Oh, it's this fucking Nathaniel.
Yeah, if I just said smells like cheese, would that pretty much cover it?
Oh, good. No, he only smells like cheese when he does the Dutchman.
Yeah,
So he really does. He does vary the
He's very
overall
invested in his. He's very invested in his persona.
Yeah, but it was crazy. As soon as he took that beard off and started talking with his normal accent, the cheese smell just went away. I don't know how he
was
does
the
it.
cheese
It's in the beard. It's in the beard.
Is it in the beard? Is that how he does
It's
it?
in the beard. Can you imagine wearing that thing around all day?
No, awful.
I want to think of
Right?
We should ask Contentment about that. Either perhaps she already knows about this, but I don't want to make a note to talk about her later.
Hawthorne sent you, and he like a look of recognition comes over his face. He says, "Is this about the knockers?"
He like puts a hand in front of Cersei and moves her behind him. What do you mean by the knockers?
Tell me
The
more about
knocker.
the knockers.
My home is
don't think
infested
that's-
by knockers.
Sounds like not a bad problem to have.
It's horrible. Wake up in the middle of the night, disturbed in my sleep.
Well, hey, your preferences are your own. I mean, I'm not gonna yuck you yum, but I mean, it sounds great to me.
Your noise is coming.
Just like rips herself like out from behind. See, don't think we're all talking about the same thing. What have you gotten a look at these knockers before? Or
No. Do you know how hard it is to see knockers?
Yeah, actually, I've had a pretty rough time of it.
smacks his shoulder.
Hey, how about Saoirse, since you're the one being the most generous with this? I'd like Saoirse to make me a folklore test if you can.
Okay, sure. That'd be great.
Mhm.
All right. So I have a 51, and then I have 2 little dots in folklore. So that's a 71.
Okay.
Okay. I'm
Sweet.
a 71.
There we go. I'm back, baby. So, knockers.
Yeah.
goblin 2-foot tall person type things who by some accounts are harmless and helpful, and by other accounts steal your possessions and are more akin to poltergeists than anything else. So it'd take more digging for you to figure out what kind of knocker he means, but he seems to think that these things have infested his home. Yeah. That's the ticket. What do you mean? I did say so.
Well, you were saying knockers.
Yeah, you did. What was your question? Several things. A medal I was awarded in service to the crown back when the crown meant something and wasn't a pile of garbage. A silverware set. Yes. And my wife's thimble collection.
The fucking thimble collection?
And a gift I bought for my goddaughter.
All right. Okay. All right. So you're saying all those things are just up and missing, is what you're saying? Just gone.
I'm saying they disappeared.
Oh, okay.
No windows open, no doors unlocked. I woke up in the morning and they're gone. I hear strange footsteps in the middle of the night.
Okay.
I hear scurrying and muffling voices terrorizing me in my sleep.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna be very forthright with you right now, sir. Okay. So it sounds like you're the stuff you're dealing with is serious. We've seen things that we're not, debunking anything you're saying. So I'm just asking you this with the utmost curiosity.
Okay.
Anything involving people with no skin, like.
What kind of nonsense are you talking about?
Okay, cool.
You're talking about people with no skin. You're talking about normal things like knockers.
You answer my question, sir. You answer my question. It's all good. Don't worry.
So you said the thimble collection. What was the gift for your?
For my goddaughter, Celeste.
Oh, what a thing!
It was a mirror. A mirror I had made. It's engraved. It's a beautiful silver mirror.
A silver mirror.
Silver mirror. Okay.
A pocket mirror. She carries around in her handbag.
And a thimble.
Pretty our face up with all our friends, and now it's gone.
So silverware set, silver set of thimbles, and this silver mirror, right? Okay, they got a version of silver.
So they like silver.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Detecting a pattern.
I suppose.
Do they like silver, or would from the folklore do they not like silver? And maybe
there's nothing in the folklore that says that they love a certain kind. They usually in the stories they take valuable things. They take valuables.
Okay.
This seems like a common trend. The silver.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything they don't like from the folklore?
From the folklore, knowing what you know about them, usually, depending on the story that you're like, they like nice things. They take things of value. They also tend to, they seem to obsess over maybe these objects, and if there's like a cursed object, or if there's an object that can carries specific importance to the person, if you're able to lay that to rest, if you're able to take it back and either bury it or break the connection to these spirits, you can banish them. Otherwise, you can't see them, can't touch them. They're ghosts. So you'd need that specific thing back, whatever it might be.
Okay.
All right, here. And he takes out this tiny slip of paper and he says, here's my address. It's unlocked. I'm not going back there until the house is clean.
Clean. All right. Now, this is a second thing we're going to bring up here, sir. We're talking about our payment for our services.
I see. Want to be paid in exposure.
Oh.
Good for you. It's not real payment. Good for you. He says, I'll pay you when you're done. What's your rate?
Well, our rate, seriously, what's our rate?
Yeah, do we have a rate?
Did we come up with a rate for this?
I don't remember once talking about a rate.
Um,
Our agent here, Seisha, will tell you our rate.
actually, I would like to use, because I am a freebooter, I
Yeah.
would like to do some skullduggery
Okay.
and try to finagle a good rate out of this guy.
Okay, go ahead and roll that for me.
Okay, that is 69.
Nice. Automatic
Nice.
success.
My skullduggery.
Is that a host roll? 69.
House roll 69 is an automatic.
I actually do make it though, because my skullduggery is 72.
Oh, good.
So yeah.
Excellent. You're looking for a good rate from this guy, and I'm looking through. Let me see here. What would be the services of someone like this? Let's say. Look at all this fun stuff. I love this book. We're going to pay for. We'll say it's close to the services of a professional, which would be somewhere around £1. And he looks at you up and down. He's like, "I pay each of you £1, I suppose. £3.
Well, there's actually going to be 5 of us involved.
Well, where are they?
They're getting supplies for the rest of this work. No, you can't. We can't have everybody just show up in your house talk about business. Everybody has other things to do around the city. Come on, sir.
He thinks about that roll you just made, and he says, "Are you fine? How many more do you have?"
We got 3 more.
All right, £6 then.
Right, £6.
Smooth. He says, "Very well. Yeah, let me know when the job is done, and I'll pay you."
All right, you'll pay us at £7, right?
I thought it was £6.
No, he said 7.
Yeah, you said 7. What are you talking about?
Shite. All right, £7.
£7. Let's go, guys. We'll get that. We'll get
Got a lot
that
of
£7 later on.
So you return into the rest of the group with this information. It's getting dark. So your choice is, are you going to go to this house when it's dark outside to look for this ghost? Or are you going to go during the day? What's your plan?
I would bring it up to the group in a suggestion of, all right, I think we should case the house during the day, then go in at night prepared to deal with some ghosts. I mean, instead of any kind of spells.
But
or
not
something.
tonight, right?
No, not tonight. No, not tonight. Tonight. We're gonna need a
I got
day.
plans, actually.
Oh, all right, cool.
Oh, well, and we do need to actually get some supplies, related to ghosts. You did, after all, say that we were collecting them, so we should probably show up, well equipped.
Yeah,
Hey.
I mean, probably have some spells you could probably. I don't know if you got any magic you can do for this, but I figured you probably need a day to check out the place and then prepare your spells, right?
Should figure out if there's something that I can do. So a bit of time is always good.
So the plan is to spend the daytime casing the joint, go shopping for ghost busting supplies,
Yes.
and just sort of prepare, and then go back in the evening when you think it would be most active. Yeah.
Yeah.
The next day, what kind of supplies do you think you need?
Well, Nessa,
in the
do you
market
have
for?
any ideas about what we could do in particular ghost-wise?
That is a good question. And I try and find the contents.
I know
Spell.
salt's the classic one, right?
Yeah. Putting like cross thresholds and things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm making it up, but like some sage,
Obviously.
like
yeah.
to smudge things. I played Phasmophobia once, and I'm scared.
You got all that knowledge in now.
We take a recorder and ask them if they've done something bad.
Hey, I've watched Supernatural. I am a professional ghost hunter now, so that's how that works.
Perfect. Yeah. Let me dig out my books and research a little more. I haven't dealt with ghosts in a while, to be honest. it's almost tame compared to giant ants, but I can't even find where I'm looking for.
That's all right. You'll have time. But,
I will.
you think about all these
research
supplies, and you sort of get your funds together. And
I feel like she'd have certain herbs like sage and various things anyway as part of stuff. So she'll dig through what she's got and then she'll go and get more supplies if need be.
great.
Yeah.
I like that. So the next day, who is going shopping?
I'll go. I feel
I'll
like
probably go.
I'm cool with
you? Anyone else?
negotiation.
It's just to help with.
I have the party funds, so either I should go with
Do you
you
have purse
or I
strings?
should
Yeah,
give
that's
you.
true.
I also have 22 pounds, but yeah. So
I would
What
go
we've got
shopping just in case there are things that like they can't get. If there's anything like really good spooky, anti-spooky stuff they need, I know where I can get them from.
Excellent.
Okay.
Yeah. So is that 1, 2, 3, 4? Everyone except Phineas. Right?
maybe you can come if you want to.
Phineas, do you want to come?
Sure.
Okay. So all of you go, and you go to Old Slip Market, which is a market nearby Manhattan. This is an actual market that existed at the time. It's kind of a flea market vibe to it, mostly meat and produce and things, but you can buy other things like sage and salts and whatever else you might need. It's busy today, partially because there are a lot of people, like you're getting flashbacks to Boston, right? Of living in a city during wartime, where a lot of people seem to be carrying their most valuable possessions and traveling away from the city. They're moving out of their homes. It is a time of uncertainty. The Continental Army has recently moved back in through Manhattan, and there are rumors around. I'll tell you without a rumor test that the British Army is going to be on their heels before too long. Meanwhile, you've got your own problems to deal with, so you're off looking through stalls, looking for the best prices, negotiating, bartering, things like that. When I need everyone to make me an awareness check.
Oh boy.
Nope.
That ain't good.
Well, I just
I got
rolled
a
an
70.
8.
Oh, I
I
actually
failed.
succeeded. 39.
Oh,
Nope.
Okay. The two succeeders, which is Contentment and Saoirse, through the crowd, in a brief moment, it parts. Contentment, you see a young lady sort of out walking with a large sack, like a rucksack sort of bag in front of her. Saoirse, you see this lady too, and you recognize her as Mary Pullman, who is the young woman who you helped back in Boston evacuate the city and come here. You haven't seen her since you've gotten here. But as you look at her and realize who it is, she looks back at you, and then she turns quickly and moves away as fast as she can.
Did you see? That was Mary Pullman.
The girl that you were working with in Boston. Yeah, yeah, I
Yes.
saw. I recognize her. I remember.
What
Why
happened?
did she run? Go chase after her. Like
Okay.
maybe she
Yeah,
didn't see
we
us.
should follow her.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm on my way.
The two of you, give me an athletics check to see if you can catch up to her. Weaving through the crowd, there are people everywhere, both shoppers, loyalists who are entrenched in the city, and rebels, rebel friendly folks who are trying to get out.
I rolled a
Right.
6.
Woo! Could I do like a coordination instead? Something more like trying to dip between and like something like that instead of actively pushing through
Sure,
people?
yeah, sure. Yeah, that
Okay.
sounds good. Okay, yeah, you are.
Brings it up from a
Parkouring
marginally
off
to a
Okay, I like
44
it. I like
instead.
it. I like it. So eventually, the two of you catch up, and Saoirse.
I rolled an 8 again.
Wow, you're
Nice.
hot. So you get close, and for a moment, someone's leg comes akimbo out of nowhere, and you almost trip over it, but you're able to sidestep it, and as you like regain your balance, you reach your hand out, and it lands on Mary's shoulders. And she turns around and looks at you with a look of fear and confusion. And in one hand, she's grabbing on to this sack. And in her other hand, you see she's holding a knife. And on her face is this terrified look, but her eyes are bloodshot and red. And she looks at you almost as if she's fighting against something. And she says, "Help me." And she stabs you in the gut. And that's where we're going to end this session.
Wait, she stabbed who in the gut?
Saoirse. And so that's where we're going to end episode
You
1.
didn't even get to teach me
season
to
2 of
dance
Fantasy
yet.
Freedom.
What?
You can't
There
kill
will
my
be-
dance instructor.
What?
There will be fancy things to come.
You bastard.
Drama.
Oh, I should also add that she collapses
God.
comatose at your feet after this happens. So, that's where we'll end. And I want to thank everybody in chat for coming by and being a part of it. We are so excited to get back to this game, and we're glad you could join us. And I love this cast, and I'm so glad they're back as well. So thank you for being here. Thanks for everybody who did all those retweets and made me wear a wig. We want to give thanks to InfiniteRP, obviously, for hosting, and both the folks at Zweihander and Andrews McNeil for being so grim and perilously generous with resources as we sort of planned even season 1, but even now we're so excited to be playing this system. We love it. It's great. So we're going to go around the circle, and we are going to tell everyone who you are, where you're from, as long as you love me, and you're where else we can find you, what else you're doing. And I promise next week we'll roll for stuff like conflict and all the stuff I forgot. And it'll be great. So let's start. We'll go in the opposite as we started. So Colin, you are up first. Colin, tell everyone who you are, where you're from, and give me a star or a wish, something that you came away with today you were really happy about.
Okay, well, I'm Colin. I am Colonomicon on Twitter, but also on Twitter under my secret alias because it's my LLC, which is Six String Games.
What?
You can find me on Twitter as @6stringgames, which is a Twitter handle that I share with Anna down there, Tamere941. We own a game company together. It's called Six String Games. And we make a new game every month. There's a new one coming out every single month. The first one is already written, and it comes out on February 1st, and it's called Raycats, which is like, it's like a bit of Thundercats and a bit of Power Rangers, all wrapped up in like Mad Max, kind of. It's a weird game that I think you'll really enjoy. But that is actually based on something that really happened, which was some scientists actually proposed that it would be a good idea to breed a special type of cat that changes color when it's near high radiation as a way to warn people about high radiation sites. That sadly never happened, though that was seriously proposed to Congress. But the idea of Raycats are just too cool to pass up. So we took that and then decided what would happen if the Raycats turned into super swole, sexy, muscular, like Thundercat looking motherfuckers who still change color when they get near high radiation. So I'm going to drop a link in the chat. That game is not out yet, but we have an itch page up for it already.
Nice.
So you can get the skinny on that game. Comes out February 1st. And if you are one of our Patreon subscribers, you can get yourself a hard copy of that game. That will be individually numbered. It's a limited print run of only 100. Each one will be individually hand numbered, and they will all bear our Six String Games seal on them, which actually I have here, which looks like that. It's backwards mirrored, but yeah, our Six String Games Fancy Pants gold foil seal will be on each one of those, and you can get one. Yeah, collector's item or something. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, we're making games, and I'm really excited about it, and please check us out. I'd much appreciate if you did. My stars and wishes. There is so much fun shit happening today. I'm glad that like fuck wishes is the joke that will never die, and that's
yeah,
that's evergreen. That's gonna just keep coming up.
Evergreen bush.
My favorite part was a scene I wasn't even in, but the part just Nessa and Contentment at Mrs. Doyle's pastry shop. I love,
Because we all know Mrs. Doyle.
I love that character. That was in session 0 when Justin mentioned that there's this pastry shop owner character. We were like, Justin asked us, like, tell me something about this person. We kind of like made them together. And I take credit for this one. 'Twas I who was like, I wanted to be a diehard loyalist because I just wanted to see how those interactions would be because it'd be hilarious. And I just thought it'd be great to have this lady who's like, otherwise just so nice and sweet. But I don't know. It's like that member of your family that's like really nice, but you're also waiting for them to like say something kind of fucked up.
Just wait for the shoe to drop.
Wait for that shoe to drop.
Exactly.
Like, it's just around the corner at any given time.
It's the truth. It's the truth. Thank you, buddy. Great job today.
Thank you.
Loved having you. Let's go down below you to my friend Wally.
Sup, y'all? Oh, boy. I'm actually in a lot of stuff, so I can't even list them all. I'm in way too many stuff. So I'll just say this. Follow me on Twitter at WALLE132. You can follow me talking about all the stuff I'm in because I am in a lot of fucking stuff. I've been in a lot of fucking podcasts. I have been nominated 4 times for TTRPG GIF Award. 4 times TTRPG GIF. So let's just say I've been doing a lot lately. But yeah,
you're basically
on Twitter.
You're basically a cowboy. You're a Skinner.
That's so cool.
Yeah, right there, yeah. But yeah, I just been doing a lot of stuff. Check me out at Wally132, just like the cute little Disney robot, where I'm just saying all this stuff and talking about the stuff I'm in.
And you'll be here Monday nights.
Yes, I will be here Monday nights, of course. My stars and wish. I think my big star is I loved that opening scene with Phineas teaching the class. I loved that so much because it started off because I can just picture it as like the cold opening of some show where Phineas just walks in with a briefcase and he opens up the briefcase and pulls out he just pulls out random things that he thinks a teacher should have on their desk. Like he pulls out a stack of papers. There's nothing written on the papers, a pen, and a random food that he should eat in the middle of his class. And he just starts teaching. Is he supposed to be teaching the thing he's supposed to do? No, you don't know, but it was so perfect. And I just loved how it slowly turned around, that it turned into him doing exactly what he's really good at, which is just getting people to open their eyes and realize, look, the world is a shitty place and you got to raise your fist against it. And that was so great. It was like a full turnaround, and there were people in the class who were against it, and there were people who were like really leaning into it. And then you had, Biggs. But that was great. I really liked that scene so much.
Thank you, Wally.
I think my wish is I totally am ready for Zeke to just idolize this group of Skinners. I am so ready for it.
I've been thinking, and I've been thinking about that and thinking about what Zeke's third profession is going to be.
Yeah,
there are like cavalry. There are,
There's a lot of things that could go with his third profession with this, and and we joked about it during the session 0 because we said Zeke is definitely going to try to is going to straight up chameleon this and start adapting their personality. And there's going to be a moment where Zeke says something and Cersei's like, oh, okay. It's like,
start using Skinner lingo.
This is new. This is new.
You're just mirroring it.
I'm ready for this. I'm so.
That's me in real life. I just mirror stuff. Cool. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you being here. Anna, permanent cast member and wonderful addition. How are you? And how was your first, episode?
I'm great. First episode was awesome. I'm really happy to be here, as I said before. I'll start with stars and wishes, I guess, because my star was also that scene with Contentment and Nessa in the bakery, but for a slightly different reason. And that was just because it's a delight to roleplay with Kate every single time. We have barely gotten to do it often enough, and it's always been like passing in the night, various one-shots. So I'm glad that we just get the chance to do it more often, because I love the way that you tell stories, Kate. So that was my star. My wish is that, again, speaking of one-shots, as I'm covering my mouth, my wish is, speaking of one-shots in the night, when Contentment was created as a character, this was originally to just do a one episode guest thing on this show, right? But me being the person that I am, I sent Justin, hey, here's like an entire Google document with this character's entire backstory. And, you know, here are some plot hooks here. And if you watch season 1, at one point I told him, feel free to kill her off in the hole where we were with the ghouls and have like things from the backstory happen. You didn't pull on those backstory threads. And you didn't kill me off. But you still have them. So my wish is for them to be pulled because you got a lot of them. And I'm excited to see how that interacts with, you know, it's always different coming into a party that's already pre-established and you guys have been playing together as a group now for a whole season. So, I mean, my wish is just to kind of see how this goes with a 5th person added on.
Oh, they're going to be pulled.
I think that'll be fun. I'm sure they will. As for me, well, like Colin said, I'm the other half of Six String Games. We have a Patreon. You can follow us there. It's just patreon.com/sixstringgames. All of our patrons actually get access to our games a week early. So if you like the sound of Raycats and you want it on January 25th instead of February 1st, you can become a patron for as little as $6 a month. And that gets you a digital PDF copy. We kind of designed these to be like in zine format. So you can also print and play your own zine if you're a digital subscriber, et cetera, et cetera. And we also have a Discord. So basically you can just find us on social media at Six String Games. The Discord is linked everywhere. And we would just love to have you guys come out and play our games and see what else we have cooking in the play test kitchen right now. This is the main place where I'm streaming. However, I also play over on Cast of Many Things. We just wrapped a season of the game called How to Princess, where we all play as princesses that we're trying to solve the problem of why are all the colors going out of the world. I was Lenore, the skeleton princess with a magical crown of never-ending Halloween candy, and I will be coming back for season 3 of that on Cast of Many Things, as well as an actual play of Wander Home, which is a really cool game about wandering animals doing cool things designed by J Dragon. So Cast of Many Things on your podcast app of choice is mostly where I'm hanging out these days.
Sweet. Thank you, Anna. So glad you're here. And speaking of Kate, who's so great, let's talk to Kate. Hi, Kate.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm
Where are you?
good.
Where we find you?
I'll start that again. You can find me on the interwebs under Actors at Work on socials, but on Twitch you'll find me under just Kate Madison, or on YouTube Kate Madison. I'm trying to convert over, but you know it's hard because people have claimed those names. God damn it. Anyways, yes, I'm not very good at the social medias anyway, so you know. I used to stream a lot and then I've pulled back on streaming, but I'm still pretty much nocturnal and it's bad. But so you can find me streaming on my own channel or over here, obviously on Mondays, or on Kid at Neutral Games on Fridays for a D&D game that we've been doing now for 3 years, which is crazy. And yeah, I mean, as always, too many wonderful moments to enjoy. But I mean, you can never have too many good moments. But I have to admit to adoring cheese-smelling Dutchman. And as well as they inspired us all to get cheese during the break, which was quite hilarious. The advert worked. Oh my god! What? But I do also have a very soft spot for Zeke turning into the 12-year-old Zeke, it seems, and going, oh, cowboys, and dancing down the street after them. So yeah, that holds a little special place of him doing the sort of like so excited to stop dancing kind of 2-year-old moves thing, because that's how I pictured it, at least, whether that's true or not. But yeah, I had good fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next, especially like that was a real like dun 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 ending. So with the food.
Gotta end on a beat. I learned that from Colin.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you, Kate, for being here. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And finally, Greek Sid, Christina Sid, how are you?
I'm great. The lag has been distracting my ADHD, so I'm just going to do this.
Thank you.
It will look like it syncs out. Hi, I'm Christina Sid. You can find me on Twitter at Greek Sid. Generally, just talking about all the shenanigans I do on the internet. I'm here on Mondays, and then I do a good deal of streaming over on game nights, 2 G's and a K, like a knight in shining armor. Let's see, I'm over there on Fridays, every other Saturday, and on Sundays playing games. And on Thursdays, I run. Okay, it's a bit of a hack that we're calling Good Shadows. It is about 85% the new Urban Shadows 2E Quick Starter Edition. And then it's about 15% of Good Society, which we've been running for a very, very long time. So we took all the fun stuff from Good Society, we shoved it into Urban Shadows. We're calling it Good Shadows. It's called Elegant Creatures. It's a lot of fun. It's very solar punk and sexy, and we're having a great time. That's 8 o'clock Eastern on Thursday, so definitely check that out. It's a wild ride, and Wally's there. Yeah,
Yay!
it's great.
Do you have a star or a wish?
My star just goes to Doc for all of the fucking amazing NPCs that we've had this go around. We've met
Just let them all out
so
of the
many
on the first
fun
episode.
people, so many fun people just in the first episode. I adore all of them. I don't know who's my favorite NPC at this point because there's just so many to choose from. My wish is that even if Saoirse was stabbed to death in the street just now, I hope we can at least go back to a very emotional, like, that evening where she could teach Finn to dance. I would like that to happen, at the very least.
Yeah, because now it's in the. Oh, this is interesting. Because we said we were doing it that night, but then we skipped to the next day. So
it's true.
So
it could have happened already, even
yeah, it
if
might have
I'm
already
dead.
happened. We just didn't see
Exactly.
it.
We just didn't see it yet. So
Flashback.
we'll see. Flashback.
We can see. Thank you, and thank you, Sid, for being fantastic. You can uncover your mouth now if you want. You don't have to. I'm Doc Rimbo, and it is my pleasure to be the historian for this game. We'll be back next Monday. I'm also here on Thursday nights for the Lost City of Vadronis, where I play business warlock and all-around smarmy asshole Marcos Deg, whose personal assistant is an imp named Jaraxius, Devourer of Hope. And he is something else. That whole show is a lot of fun. And we just got off a great little guest spot from our friend Danae Says, and it was terrific. Other days, I'm on my Twitch channel, Doc Rimbo. I've been streaming a lot of Wild RP, Red Dead Redemption 2 roleplay as Sheriff Jonah Harper, whose story is very compelling to me at the moment, and a lot of the people that are involved in that are just fantastic. So you can come by Doc Rimbo and see my my VODs from past streams and see what it's like and see if you like it. And then you can come by if I'm streaming live and visit me there. My stars, I'm going to give stars for everybody because I love giving just highlights from everybody. And they are, from something about, and I wrote this down, Colin, at one point you said, I'm whispering now, like that, because he was outside and the way you delivered the line made me like lose my mind, and I don't know what it was, so I have to go back on the VOD to look at it. Wally, just representing 95th Street, and the cowboy freak out was pretty great. Anna asking if they were going to get paid in cheese was a highlight for me. Nessa, Kate, when Nessa delivered the line, well, we are supposed to be teaching people etiquette. just saying, I think you said, and it was fantastic. And then Saoirse, I do believe you said we don't jump from something to fuck bushes, and I forget what it was, but it was friendship to fuck bushes. But the sentence was a highlight for me. My wishes for myself is that next week I remember to play background music and use other game features that I forgot, mechanics and stuff like that. That's my wish for myself. But my wish for you is that you have a great night. Everybody stick around. We're going to be rating our friends over at Friends Who Roll Dice. So stick around to join them. Otherwise, we will see you here next Monday night for more Flames of Freedom, the Tamere Society. Thank you for being here. And goodbye.
Oh, when I was a lad, oh, so my mother told me, way Holloway will Holloway show, that if I not kiss the girls, my lips would grow all moldy. Tell me, way Holloway will Holloway show. Away, Holloway, the good ship now is rolling. Away, Holloway, will Holloway Joe. Way, Holloway, we're bound for better weather. Way, Holloway, will Holloway Joe. Once I was in Ireland, digging turf and taties. Way, Holloway, will Holloway Joe. But now I'm on a Yankee ship, hauling on the braces. Way, Holloway, will Holloway Joe. And I got the Brooklyn girl, she damn near drove me crazy. Way, Holloway, will Holloway Joe. Oh, Holloway together will surely make her ender. Way, Holloway, will Holloway Joe. Oh, the cook is in the galley, I'm making duck so handy. Way, Holloway, will Holloway Joe. Oh, way, Holloway, will Holloway together. Way, Holloway, will Holloway Joe. Oh, when I was a lad, oh, so my mother told me.